Welcome to the Sigma Show, episode 94. I'm your host, Sigma. Before I let you know who's joining me this week and what our topics will be, before I let you know who's joining me this week, I'm going to let you know what our topics will be. That's how that goes. First up, pretty much same old. We're going to go over what games you've been playing, movies, talking, etc. And we only have one topic today, and it's kind of a doozy. So, I'm not sure how the conversation is going to go, but everything's going to be respectful as it always is. We're going to just dive headfirst into all of the J.K. Rowling stuff and Hogwarts Legacy stuff. But it is kind of on the cuspice of this New York Times article an opinion piece that was posted days after a bunch of its writers and contributors sent a letter kind of addressing how the New York Times has been covering trans issues in its publication. So there's this kind of dichotomy with what the majority of people who write for that paper feel how they feel trans people are being covered, and the New York Times itself kind of just doing what it wants almost. It's a very complicated situation. We'll get into more detail after some of the more lighthearted stuff. But today, joining me is Ash Redux.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be back again. Thank you, KC.
No problem. Frost is joining us as well.
Oh, baby, here we go. Mr. Ice Cold and Unknown, ready to derail. Let's go.
Unknown? This is the most famous man in this group right now. And We'll See Blogs.
I don't blog, but hello, everyone.
It's your name. You put it in there.
I've said this before. People have me literally as a contact, as if Blogs is my last name, and I'm just kind of here for it at this point. I just support it.
It's like Baker and Smith, those old occupational surnames.
Last name.
He's from a family of bloggers.
Bloggers,
Oh
a long line of bloggers.
This is how we're gonna start the podcast.
Started
Great.
on
Love
like AOL
That's
back in the day,
Jesus Christ.
But thank you so much for joining me. Always a pleasure to have you guys. We're gonna jump right in. Anybody want to share what they've been playing, what they've been watching, maybe what you've been listening to, reading, things of that nature?
I'll go.
Go right in. Jump right in.
Yes.
Feel free to take not take forever on this section,
Nope.
but we only have one topic.
Going in.
So
45 minutes.
It's
Go ahead.
fair if this is like half the show, is what I'm saying.
This past week, I just finally decided to start watching The Last of Us TV show.
Right.
I was like, you know what, let me give this a chance. I figured it, in a general sense, it feels like the video game, film, or in this case, TV show adaptations have gotten rid of the curse that used to happen back in the day. Everything's been pretty consistent for me, anyway, in my opinion. Detective Pikachu was cool. The Sonic movies are cool. There was something else that I was thinking of too, but in general, I've been enjoying these other media from video game adaptations. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, and I caught up. I guess that's to say if I'm enjoying myself or not while watching it. I caught up.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally watching it last night while I was up late, and the episode finished. I'm like, oh man, that was crazy. I'm ready for the next episode. And then I finally found out, these come out on Sunday, so I have to wait until the end of the day today. So I was real excited. I was like, yeah, what do you mean I caught up? No.
That's the main reason I binge everything nowadays. But I've been staying consistent with The Last of Us as well.
So
I've been
really.
Or the game, the one that this season is based off at least?
So by the time I got a PlayStation, because I was a Nintendo, as Frost called me before, for a long time. So when I finally got a PlayStation, Last of Us already been out for a while. My friend Kiba, I watched him play through a decent amount when it came out, just was over his house that day. And then I've watched other creators play through the whole thing for part 1. I then also watched someone play through part 2 because since I didn't play it, I didn't have like as much of need for me to want to play it, but I did want to see how the story continued. I enjoyed it enough from watching it that I wanted to see how the story continued. So I did watch through all the first one and the second one.
So that's actually a very interesting place to come into the TV show, because the game itself is very much like a TV show. Like the gameplay stuff is not revolutionary. Like I said this many times, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but like it's like any other third person shooter with like a little bit of stealth and a bunch of gun action and whatnot. but it has a really, really good story that kind of drags you along all that stuff. And at a certain point, a lot of the gameplay even starts to feel padded. So you, as a secondhand observer, you don't feel the fatigue of the gameplay padding, or maybe you do because you're just watching somebody shoot for an extended period of time. But like you're kind of going from watching a TV show to watching a TV show.
Watching a TV show.
But you're still enjoying it because there are like some differences.
Oh yeah. And like I said, for the padding too, since most of the time, like, yeah, people like, I didn't watch like a long playthrough, you know what I mean? I watched like their edited one. So when they get to the combat, I'll see like how the combat starts normally. I'll see like a funny moment during that combat sequence, but then it's like back into here's some traversal, us going to the next destination, also shortened a little bit, you know what I mean? So I watched the edit down. They didn't show any time they found like interesting,
environmental storytelling type stuff.
Yes, yeah, they did show those. So I know about the what was that character's name? Ish, the guard, where they both like stayed in the bunker underneath, which the show referenced actually in the episode. So thankfully I saw so when I got there I was like, oh look, this is for people who played the game. I didn't do it, but this is for you guys. That's awesome.
It's for the real gamers.
It's for the real gamers.
Those nerds.
I am enjoying the show though. The main thing I noticed that was different obviously is that, you know, like they're not having to wear the gas mask. Like when they first went, him and Tess were underground, he saw like one of the infected like already actually dead and just stuck into the wall, and I'm like, they don't have a mask on. I thought this spread via spore. Oh, they're not doing the spore thing in the show. Like no one has to worry about wearing the mask, which I get because you have to wear a mask like a decent amount during the games especially when there's underground and you're around a bunch of those infected, and it's like you're paying these actors and you're going to cover their face and they don't want to do that. Like no one had to explain it. Like, I get it. You don't want to cover their face for too much of the movie.
Pedro's already doing Mando. Hey, you don't want no more masks.
Yeah, like he's already having his beautiful face covered for the majority of the other projects he's in. So it was probably in his contract. It was like, hey, make this change. We got a deal.
That's less work as an actor. I wouldn't be mad if you were like, I am wearing a mask. That way, I mean, I guess I'm lying. You probably got to be more expressive with like your eyebrows and shit like that.
And stuff,
more hand movements and gestures and stuff.
Right.
You got to move your whole neck when you talk.
Whole neck. I think the actors that they chose. I remember I didn't read why, but before I started watching, I remember people complaining about who they chose to play as Ellie. And I was kind of worried. I saw something.
Yeah, I heard complaints.
And I didn't know why yet. I didn't watch it. I started watching. I'm like, no, she sounded like Ellie to me. I don't see what the problem is. So I'm glad I didn't read the articles because I feel like
they're probably worried about the visual, which I get it. At times I look at it and I'm like, I don't full blown see Ellie, but that's okay. I feel like the essence is still there. The same thing that happened with like Sam and Henry, when they took their sort of changes. Like I was just like, yo, like the one thing. Oh God, I forget. Sam's the boy, right?
Yeah, the younger
one.
Little dude.
Yeah. So like. At first, I was watching it. I was just like, I don't remember. I didn't play it on launch either. Actually, like I was like, what the hell? But like, so the change to having him where it was kind of hard of hearing was like, okay, how are they going to communicate this? And then the additional thing of like the actor who played Henry, like I have never seen him work before, and I was captivated whenever.
Oh
he was amazing. Yeah.
But the thing that threw me off too is it's my girlfriend pointed out is just like the thing that didn't feel great is the ASL representation, which is okay, right? You know, they got the vibe. But they said that if you can rewatch it, and I did. There's bits and pieces where you almost see him sign, and you see like him memorizing the script in kind of his eyes. He's getting to the next point, so it's not as fluid as it's supposed to be.
Who the young actor or the older one?
The older one, Henry.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah,
so it's not a
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Right,
Sam's actually deaf, so
yeah,
because so
Henry,
take away
the actor, didn't know sign language, so
exactly
he learned it just for the
Yeah. So it's just one of those interesting things where it's just like, because you know the internet's gonna complain regardless, but like it's one of those things I didn't even keep in mind. I was just like, I was just so into his performance in general, and to have it where it kind of had that shift, I was like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy. But I didn't mean to step over your toes. I just
no, you're good.
Need to be into that.
I mean, it's strange that nobody said much about like Pedro playing Joel, who was traditionally a white dude.
Because he's zaddy. He's internet zaddy.
Because he's zaddy.
Yeah, like Pedro Pascal kind of gets a pass. Not that you know he shouldn't get a pass, but like he gets a pass from that sort of heat when he gets cast as things because people generally just like him.
Right.
But I do remember Darren pointed out that some fans were worried that Pedro wouldn't be able to grow Joel's beard.
Yeah,
that was. But what's funny is that apparently he cannot grow Joel's beard because it is still patchy in the show.
Yeah, no.
So I mean,
why I'm growing. That's why I'm growing mine out. I'm like, hey, it's time.
Like, it's a stupid concern, but it is valid because he couldn't grow the beard.
Yeah, no. You think they fill that in?
I mean, it's not. That's the thing. It's not that important, right? Like the fact that Joel in the game had a full beard and was a big white guy is not as important as Pedro Pascal having big daddy energy, right? Because like that's all you really need is like a dude who has the ability to make you feel like he's gruff, but also very caring of a steward he has to take care of.
It helps too that he grew up a little in Texas, so like he does kind of have that accent in him. But I can also sort of just hear like, yeah, you have the Texan accent, but it's Tex Hispanic.
Yeah,
it's not Tex white. I was like, okay, but it'll pass. Why not?
Yeah, it definitely works. Like, because that aspect of Joel like doesn't matter. Like you could like Pedro Pascal is great because he's a great actor, but anybody could have played Joel. Like if it was important that they were in that location, I mean, The Rock is not. Okay. The Rock is maybe not that great.
Dwayne Johnson ruining it.
Like, oh my God. Like The Rock kind of stands apart from the roles he's in most cases. But like, yeah, any very good actor could probably do this role, like of any race.
So George Lopez.
Yeah,
you guys.
Hold on.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Also,
just gonna lean right into it.
Hold up. Chat saying Tex-Mex. He is Chilean. There's a very different accent, but I went for just Hispanic overall. But yeah, Tex-Mex is some nonsense. Bro.
He said Vin Diesel. God
dang. Yes, it's all about family.
He is. He is ethnically ambiguous.
That man can play anything. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I'm not buying it.
Yeah, no, it's that he can't really play anything. That's actually how he got picked up as an actor. He made his own little film about being ethnically ambiguous, where he's just like, I'm not really Italian, I'm not really black, I'm not really Dominican or whatever. I'm not white enough. Can't get picked up for anything. And then he got picked up for what's that one with Tom Hanks? The war?
The
Tom
war
Hanks
one.
in
The war.
The
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's the one. Who directed that? Spielberg, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Spielberg saw Vin Diesel's little homemade movie and was like, "I like this guy. I want him," and that's what started him.
Yeah.
I don't remember Vin Diesel was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, he was. He was just like kind of a random, but he got shot. He's like, "Oh, I'm dying" or something. Well, all of them were doing that, but still, the camera was a little more focused in when he was saying it.
Now we got 10 movies with this bald man. I don't really know if I could 10 of the Fast. I
do not besmirch the Fast franchise.
Isn't it strange?
I love the Fast franchise because it's so bad. See? And I know that's way off guard from where this is all about Ash and we got off. So I'm gonna hand it back. But like, there's no. My girlfriend has seen none of the Fast and the Furious movies. I'm like, you got to see the first two, at least the first two.
3.
Go figure it out.
Tokyo.
I would even say skip the second one, watch the first one, and then the third one.
I really like the second one.
Why don't you like
The second one's not great.
It's Tyrese. Get him out of
here.
Yeah,
why don't you like
Tyrese? It's
Tyrese?
Come on, eject
don't like Tyrese.
And the name was amazing. Too Fast, Too Furious.
I will give them the name. I will give them the name. The name is brilliant. It basically is what set them on this path of just nonsense names for every single movie.
Yes,
that's the
but
thing.
Tyrese is fucking. I cannot stand Tyrese.
Oh God!
You don't like that big ass forehead?
Giant milk dud head.
What the fuck? Okay, Ash, back to the track because we're gonna get off track further.
Side note: I'm actually since you guys mentioned I actually didn't know Pedro Pascal that much as an actor. I looked up real quick to see what it was like. Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, I haven't. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
You haven't seen Narcos or Game of Thrones?
No.
This is impressive.
Game of Thrones is not. You see him for all of 4 seconds and then.
But he leaves a very lasting impression. Like that's how good he is.
I can tell. But I find it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, go ahead.
No, the last thing I had to say is that now that I think about it, if we really compare it, obviously the Game of Thrones actors, Joe and Ellie, they died in such interesting ways. Now that I think about it, I'm just like, yeah.
That's as Latino as it gets, though.
Well, he
your opponent getting fucked for it, like
right, but also like Bella Ramsey just said yeet from the fucking what was it, throw or whatever it killed
Yeah.
it, and I was like, all right, so everyone
But she
had
went out.
nice
She went down swinging though. Like that's the thing. Both of them kind of got. Apparently, Bella, her character was supposed to be in like one episode, but she was so good they brought her back for extended stuff before they actually killed her off. So like both Pedro and Bella, who were kind of shortchanged by how good they were in the show, but how quickly they were removed from it. But like, hey, we'll give you guys this project, which is now becoming a big thing. So it's kind of like they're being restituted. They're Is it a word?
I don't know. If you did it in Scrabble, I wouldn't tell you no.
Yeah,
It's an English language, so you can make up a word. It's
I
fine.
understood it, so and that's the barrier for entry.
Just don't look it up. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to see that they're getting their due.
I thought it was surprising to me because I didn't realize that he was Chilean, or I thought he was like, I thought he just had like maybe a little bit of an olive skin tone, and it was just, you know what I'm saying?
Thought it was
Like,
a Greek man or something.
I knew something was in there. I just didn't know,
brother.
like, I didn't know it might have been the primary. That's all I'm saying. Like, I didn't know it was. People say I'm racially ambiguous. My people think I'm Latino sometimes, apparently. So, okay, cool. But so I was actually surprised to hear about Bella, who also surprised that she's an English actor. She got the Tom Holland thing going on, where I don't know that she's English until I hear her talk normally.
Funny you
That's
should
pretty
bring up
common.
Tom Holland.
God.
I constantly see his face in her face. Like she looks like Tom Holland to me.
I get it when you say that now, I can see it. Some of those side profiles when they're
like
getting
legit, like when they like
I can
when they're
it's
laying
the
down
facial
and
features.
she's telling Joel like a bunch of jokes. Like I'm like, yo, she looks just like Tom Holland from this angle.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're putting down. We're not. Hey, don't look at us like that. Don't be like,
Someone
wow,
Well,
Photoshop
look at these
this.
guys
I need
think-
to see this.
they can't tell English actors apart. Don't start that right now. I don't want to hear it.
That's pretty common though. Like, here's the weird thing: English actors put on American accents a lot. People don't notice them. Rarely though do they allow American actors to do it the other way because they're like, no,
Yeah,
they're
'cause
bad at
Yeah,
it.
they're not good
They're
at
bad
it.
at it. Yeah.
Because we're from America. We ruin everything.
But the last thing I was going to say about the show is I did like a real quick thing I was playing was that I was surprised that people talked about Bella when after I started watching the show and I saw Joel's daughter was black. I was like, I'm surprised I didn't hear the uproar for this. I thought this would be a whole Rue
Right.
Hunger Games situation again, even though
Yeah.
Rue was black in the Hunger Games novel, but people were dumb. But I was like,
You know
I
who
thought-
her you know who that is? Who the girl who plays Joel's daughter? But wait, did you
No.
watch Westworld? No.
I've seen nothing that you people have referred to today.
If it ain't on Nintendo, he ain't
If it
consuming it.
ain't on Nintendo.
You people?
Oh my god.
I'm blanking on her real name, but the lady who plays Maeve in Westworld.
Didn't that show
Joel's
got
daughter
canceled?
it did get canceled, sadly.
I don't know
Oh,
too many
man.
people
But
who have gotten past first season.
Joel's
so.
daughter is her daughter in real life. So
Wow.
Nepo baby. She does a great job though.
Don't bring nepo babies
She
because
does
that
a
all
great
brings in.
job regardless. That's all I'm saying.
That just
But-
makes me think of the freaking. I saw this earlier today. There was a stupid tweet or something like that saying that. Oh fuck! What is his name? The kid from Dune. Oh,
Timothy
Ti-
Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet.
he's a nepo baby. I didn't know that.
Most
Apparently,
of them are, Will.
Yeah, but like it's one of those things where I never paid attention to him. Like the only thing that ever comes to mind when I think of him is the stupid SNL skit where he's just rapping with Pete Davidson. They're making fun of hip hop, and he's like, "Yeet, skirt," and it's so stupid.
It's funny though.
It is funny. And then I'm like, but then just think that he was like, yeah, I haven't, actually auditioned for like my last top 3 roles or whatever in the past years. And I'm like, must be white. I mean, nice. That's weird.
Must be white.
Anyway,
But to his credit, you know they can't all be Jim Carrey, who just came up hella impoverished, mining for coal and stuff, and then made something of himself. If his kids wanted to be in there, they got it. They're in there now.
I love how you're just an old soul because no one else would have been like Jim Carrey. I've been talking with a lot of people and they're like, Jim Carrey, the guy from Sonic. I'm like, I will fucking murder you.
I mean, if it
Watch it.
tells you anything, it's pretty bad that I have to go that far back to be like, yeah, this guy completely pulled himself up.
Yeah, like this is one example.
Like
that
The Rock likes to talk about his $5, but his daddy was
$7.
big.
yeah, his dad
Seven, sorry,
was a
seven.
WWF guy.
You know, and his uncle and something like he had roots.
Yeah,
He did.
freaking isn't he
Oh, God,
also somewhat related to Rikishi?
Yes,
I
that's his
don't
like
know.
uncle or cousin or something like that. Because technically they're related to like Roman, who's currently the
Roman Reigns is like The Rock's cousin or something.
You know, The Rock comes from wrestling royalty, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So he's
$7 is some financial recklessness.
he was stealing Snickers, man. I don't know. That's why I only had $7. Got to make that stretch.
Wraithbolt, thank you so much. Thandiwe Newton is Maeve from Westworld.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, that's her daughter. But yeah, Ash, I'm sorry, we keep getting off.
Oh
track.
no.
You better interrupt the fuck out of me when I talk, Ash.
Good luck with
But
mine. I ain't done much.
I was just surprised that no was like up in arms about it, which I was happy because, like we were saying for Joel, like it didn't matter when it came to like their ethnicity on who played the role whatsoever. Especially, I was telling my wife, I was like, people were upset about the daughter. I'd be mad because like, there's no way she's gonna be here past the first episode. Why do you even care that much? It's not like unless they did flashbacks of the daughter a lot, you're not gonna see her again. Like you're not. Suck it up if you had an issue, but no one, not from what I heard. I'm sure someone did, but it wasn't a big outcry about it from what I've seen. So I was like, oh, nice. Thank you, internet. I have a little faith in you today. But yeah, that's it for that. That's all I've really been watching this past week. What I've been playing? I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I've been playing me a lot of Hogwarts Legacy.
It's on Nintendo.
It's supposed to be though. That's
I'm
the
gonna-
thing.
It comes out like
Supposed to-
later this
Port
year
is
in like
coming,
June
yeah.
or something like that, or April.
He's like, oh, Ash got the early copy. Clearly,
Yeah,
and playing
I'm
on Nintendo.
literally thinking Wii, bro. Wand and everything.
I've been playing it on PC, and I've been having a pretty good time for that. Today was actually the first day I've heard someone actually give it a like average review, which I don't mind if people didn't enjoy it as much. I don't think the game does anything revolutionary. I think it just does a good job of putting you in the world of Harry Potter. So the same way Last of Us didn't do anything revolutionary or innovative per se with like some of the game mechanics, I don't think they did anything, but they make it feel pretty immersive. I mean, there's a guy, a creator I watch who grew up not reading or watching any Harry Potter whatsoever, so he had no ties to the IP whatsoever. And he's like, he plays like, you know what? I just liked it because the world felt real whimsical, and I made me want to pay attention. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's I was excited just from that. Someone who has no ties to it. If I had ties to it, I knew I was going to enjoy it. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got for me.
Okay.
After
Nice.
however long we've been going so far for, 20, 25
Who
minutes.
knows?
Yeah, that's
There's
all I have for me.
No way to know.
25 minutes.
Anybody's trying to chime in? I've actually been playing stuff for a change, or I can talk about stuff I've been playing. But
I can go
Yeah,
now
go right ahead.
or finish it off because I ain't done much of anything because I've
We
been
love
on
hearing your
games.
voice. Do what you gotta do.
Can you
I've been
talk for
playing
25 minutes?
those non-discretionary action games, whatever the hell. Like, you're not allowed to talk about them.
Non-disclosure.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that. At
Non-disclosure,
first.
non-disclosure agreement.
Non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, I've been playing too many of those lately, so like I can't talk about it, or I'm gonna be sent to the gamer gulag.
Right. Exactly.
But in my efforts to stay trending with the modern trends, if you will, and keep up with the youth,
Trending
I
with the modern
watched-
trend.
I watched Borat for the first time ever.
Like the
So-
first
the
Borat.
youths.
the first one, the first one.
Right.
That's-
How,
that's
how
pretty
does
much
What do
that
you think about his
hold up?
wife?
Not well. It does not hold up well.
I've
And
never
after-
seen it, so I'm
You haven't? It's
What?
yeah,
That's wicked.
It's a thing. It's interesting.
It's a
I've
thing.
seen too much Sacha Baron Cohen PP in my life now because I
I'm
watched
sorry?
The Dictator and he full frontals you there
Wait,
too.
so how did you watch The Dictator before you watched Borat? You must have been through some interesting parts of your life where you skipped that whole thing entirely.
Documentaries hurt. Documentaries hurt me, bro.
Fair
it's,
enough.
it's secondhand cringe. And or no, not secondhand cringe, secondhand embarrassment because I'm just here
Right.
like, this is awkward and I feel awkward for you because I am an empath. No.
Okay.
Yeah, but my girlfriend was like, we're going to watch Sound of Music. I was like, okay. But then she does the little King of the Castle thing. I was like, what is that? What are you saying? And she's like, that's Borat. I was like, I've never seen it before. So we ended up watching that.
Whoa.
And to get back at her, I'm going to make her watch the post 3 Fast and Furious movies I've not seen.
Oh no.
Because I go 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. I do not go 4
Why-
or 5.
But that's when the
Don't go
series
further.
takes off, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
It
saying.
takes off in the worst way possible.
I was waiting for them to finish though, and they don't want to.
They just don't.
No,
want
haven't
to
you heard?
Just-
10 is the beginning of the end.
Is it? Oh, that's
I
good.
can't take them seriously.
What does that mean?
Who knows?
Ever-
Who knows what that means?
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a little Borat action, and then I'm gonna somehow trick her into watching. What's the fourth one called? Just Fast
I think
and
it's
Furious.
Fast
isn't it?
Fast and Furious.
Ah, that's probably why. Every time I get to the title and look up, like trying to look it up, I'm like, this is a pain. I'm done with you.
It's like a little puzzle. Like it challenges you. I like that in my movie title.
I don't think you do.
No, bro. That's just plain confusion. Yeah, but outside
They,
of
they
that,
ask
it
you to
was-
think a little bit about where does this fall in the timeline?
They didn't even think of it when they did it. Why the fuck are we thinking about it?
It's,
Hold on, now I gotta look up the
it's
list.
such
of the
a
Fast and
strange
Furious movies.
franchise with a bald man, and you're wondering everything's about going fast, but I keep seeing bald people. So either they're the most aerodynamic,
I mean,
they are.
we should have had people with
Swimmers
better hair to exaggerate how fast
they're
we're going.
No, the hair just
keep
slows you
putting-
down.
Yeah, they
That's
keep
why.
putting
That's why they
bald
added
people.
Jason Statham. They added The Rock.
Oh my God.
just more bald. Yes, only the
Yeah,
bald
they
can go
just
as,
only
truly
the
as fast
bald.
as
It's
they
the,
need to.
the fast, the furious, and the bald.
Well, they
That's
took
all it's
out The
been.
Rock and they put John, so he's not bald yet. He's
He's
getting
probably gonna
there.
slow it down. I'm worried about it.
But aren't
gonna
they also
slow me
putting,
down.
aren't they also putting in Jason Momoa?
Exactly. You don't see
Yeah.
how fast that
He's
motherfucker
got,
rides.
gonna be
he's
some
got
hair.
fantastic hair. He's
Yeah,
gonna move
like-
so slow.
Hobbs Shaw is in that universe, right? I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
It's both of them. Like
See, but
Christ.
well, I always gets me because it's the Fast and the Furious, Too
Yup.
Fast, Too Furious,
Yup.
the Fast and Furious
no,
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
I love Tokyo Drift. That song is very racially
Probably my
insensitive, but I still
favorite.
fuck with it hard. Honestly, when I play Rocket League and I score, I wonder if you that shit slaps. Anyway, and then they go Fast ampersand Furious.
Yep, Fast and Furious.
Yo,
Which is
Fast
the
Five.
actual
Fast
name of the
Five.
series.
yeah, the
Right?
Fasty Fast.
And then they said Fast ampersand Furious 6. Then they said fuck being fast, we're just being Furious 7.
Oh,
And
that's
then-
right.
They don't even care about like a pun for the 8th one. They
got
just
rid of
said the fate of the Furious, which
Which should have been the
confused.
last one.
No,
Was that not
that
the
day.
beginning of the
it's
end?
F8.
Oh
Man,
my
shut
god.
The
That's just,
fate.
you're right. They
of
did
the
do that.
Furious.
They did do that, and they fucking got away with it too. And I watched it because I'm stupid. And then
Oh
they
my
took
God.
Brock Lesnar and they amped it up and gave him an F9 instead of an F5. And then fuck it, Fast X. Where?
Come
I
on.
have so many questions.
Come on.
How old is Vin Diesel now?
He's got to be in
think-
his 50s.
I don't know.
You know what's
He's
keeping him
like
alive?
Vin
Family.
He just like me for real though.
Diesel chill. He's 55. Yeah. Let
he's
Vin Diesel chill.
still going. Just like, make Iron Giant 2 or something, dude. Rehash
Now
something else
there.
for a change.
That's what I need. in my
yeah.
life.
Like y'all like it's fun to like make fun of Vin Diesel's like lack of range, but like he's so perfect for very specific things, and it's weird that he somehow keeps finding his way to them.
He was
Lack of
perfect in
range.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
One
you,
word.
Yeah,
you
he
show
was
me his lack
perfect.
of range.
It's his
Lack of
lack
range?
of range.
Yeah.
Pull up his resume. Most of it is Dominic Toretto.
Dog, you're not wrong.
Guys.
I bet the pacifier is in the Fast and Furious universe.
No, what? This man is opening doors.
Oh, my
Didn't they
God.
do a
guys-
game with the No, I'm thinking
They
of they
did.
did like Arc 2 or some shit like that. No, what? Did
Yeah,
they
that's
do?
not out yet.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be in
Yeah,
Arc.
it's not out yet. but
Yeah.
He's gonna
he's
be in
gonna
Too
star.
Fast, Too Furious.
He's just
But
doing
they
whatever
did-
he wants.
They did do a Fast and Furious game, though.
Oh,
if I recall, and it was bad.
It was
You
like
guys
a
read the
tie-in
chat?
thing, right?
I love
I'm,
that.
I'm seeing chat.
I love fast 10 your seatbelts. Oh my god.
Italian bracket.
Hire this person. Hire this person. That's amazing.
That's really good.
That's hilarious. I
All right,
need
maybe,
that.
maybe you're not too wrong. All right, because you got Riddick, you got
Yeah, he was great in Riddick.
Ooh,
Fast
Fast.
and Furious, Pacifier, Triple X. He kind of does just always play dumb, doesn't he?
Triple X was dumb
just plays
but
dumb.
fun.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Did y'all see the Ice Cube one? I didn't see that one.
I
Oh,
did.
No, I did not.
I
Yeah.
did see the Ice Cube one.
It's like
Yes.
double Triple X. How was it?
It was
You know,
Ice Cube.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the Saving Private Ryan, and I was like, maybe Dom will save. No, he died. You guys ruined it for me.
I don't know
wanna
if he
watch it.
died. He'd get shot. I didn't actually see the whole thing.
That movie
I did-
came out in '98. I was a total of 4 years old. I did not watch it. I'm sorry. I will catch up one day.
Yeah, Nick DOG says, wasn't he like a babysitter in one movie? That's the pacifier that Frost
That's
keeps
the
mentioning.
pacifier,
Yeah.
bro. The range.
Amazing. The pacifier. Amazing.
But is the pacifier better than The Rock when he did the Tooth Fairy?
Yes.
See, I don't know because it's
Yeah,
just
that's
right
hard.
there. Like they're both.
Are they
there.
in the same universe?
But are both of those movies better than Jackie Chan when he played the
No.
babysitter.
That movie was
neither of them
trash.
can beat Jackie Chan in anything. even if it's
Honestly,
a bad
I
movie.
can't
I'm talking
talk
about the
shit
movie,
about
not
Jackie Chan.
Jackie
That
Chan. Himself.
movie with Jackie Chan was trash.
It's very
Jackie
trash.
Chan was in it,
It is
so
super
I loved
trash.
it. It is a horrible film, but I love it. 'cause
I
of
can't
Jackie.
talk ill on Mr. Chan. Sorry, I refuse to.
Exactly. Thank you, Will.
It wasn't his fault.
You're a cultured man.
It was not.
I,
Jackie Chan's
listen,
fault.
I've seen enough of Mr. What did you call it, Misters? The Hours 1, 2, and 3. Even though people hate
The
3.
hours.
The
The
Hours. I've
Hours.
seen him as a kid doing his adventures. For some reason, the man was a Karate Kid master. I'm not mad at it. He taught Jaden Smith how to slap. He
That
hasn't done
movie's
it yet,
really
but he
good.
will do it.
It all comes back to Will Smith.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't
You
say
wouldn't
that.
say the Karate
I say
Kid
it exists.
reboot is really effing good. I
No,
will.
it's not.
I will
Reboot
die on
knows
I
that.
how to
hate
put
it
it,
here. And Taraji P. Harrison's like, what the
That line is
fuck kid this?
iconic. I quote that
The-
line anytime
the-
I'm in a
the
place I
only-
dislike.
The only thing that was great out of that whole thing was he came up with the song with Justin Bieber. I will never sing. I bump that shit. I'm not going.
I have no idea what you're talking about. There's
Yo,
a,
you never heard Never
there's a-
Say Never?
There's a Jaden Smith, Justin Bieber.
Jaden Smith
collab
raps. He's like,
tied to
he's
the Karate
bigger
Kid.
than me, taller than me. His bars is garbage, but it's hilarious. But he ain't on the JB song with me. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Doug?
Oh no,
Listen to it. Load it up.
I kind of don't want to, but I feel like I have to now.
I
You
like
have to,
I like
for the
new
culture.
Karate Kid, Casey. I like. I thought-
It's not a bad movie. I just like I've seen the original. I'm like, oh, this is tasteful. And then I've seen
Honestly,
Jackie Chan in that one. I'm like, oh, so I support Mr. Chan.
No, see, honestly, I think I enjoyed Karate Kid because of the same reason I enjoyed Tokyo Drift, where it's just gaijin. They're all gaijin. It's like, I'm going to do something about it. And I'm going to learn Japanese. And I'm going to integrate with the culture. That's great. I like it.
Good reason.
But yeah, what was it? So, Borat, all the games I played are illegal to talk about right now. I didn't read none.
on stream.
Jordan Clever.
Wait, how much do we have to get to donate on your stream so you could watch Borat 2 on Amazon? Because that, believe it or not, I really enjoyed the second Borat.
Yeah. Can't make
weird
me-
that the second one was actually pretty good.
I'd argue that, like, I'm not saying it's better than it, but like it's cringy. It's definitely in the alley, but
I
I
can't.
enjoyed the
Dude.
second one.
It's hard. It's why I can't watch The Office. I get embarrassed for people, and it hurts.
I mean, all right, I don't get it, but I'm not mad at it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think
So does
that's-
that wrap things up for you?
I think so. I was gonna watch some anime, but I didn't set up Crunchyroll on the TV right, so I fell asleep. It was gonna be Chainsaw Man, but I'm not really into quantum mechanics nor quantum anime, hypothetical, theoretical. I don't care to talk about the theoreticals. So that's it.
does that
I almost
mean?
watched Chainsaw Man.
I'm totally gonna have to Google search. I've never heard of this Chainsaw Man. Is it literally just
You've
a man
never
with a
heard
chainsaw? Well, I
No,
okay.
Like think
I've
what's the first image that comes to your mind when you hear the word Chainsaw Man?
well, because it's anime, I have to reverse my first thought, because my first
no.
thought is that
Go with the first one is what I'm saying.
no, because it's not the first one. Because I've learned through my anime, I've only watched a little bit hand selected pieces, and I've learned it always goes weird and awkward. So
Yep.
instead of it being my first thought, a person that happens to have a chainsaw as like a power, I'm
Nick
now
Offerman.
assuming a man has the chainsaw as a head. That is exactly what I'm envisioning.
Both
I
of
could be
those
wrong.
things could be right though.
I'm looking up the images. Hold on. Chainsaw Man. The man has a chainsaw on his head and his arms.
And his
okay,
arms,
cool.
yeah.
Not surprising.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't
Thoroughly
know it
confused.
was on his arms too.
Sorry, spoiler. Just figured it out right now.
I
Like
should have watched.
remember, it's not called Chainsaw Head. It's a whole man
Right.
who is a chainsaw.
Are his legs chainsaws too?
You gotta watch to find out.
Pay for that.
Are his reproductive organs
You gotta
chainsaws?
watch to find
I don't think
out.
you want to watch that portion. I'm
don't
good.
know if
No,
I
thank
do
you.
really. What you know, bro? Edward Chainsaw Hands? Yeah, I've seen this movie before. Is he gonna make some wood sculptures with his chainsaws and the
That'd be
town's
great.
gonna love him?
You could be like the bounty man's like ally or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like in the Johnny Depp movie, they didn't like goths, so here they don't like weebs, but they learn to accept them.
Cancel.
It's really
Absolutely
touching.
cancel.
All right, so I can go next since I've actually can talk. Like my NDAs have kind of dried up for the stuff that I've been
Talk your
playing all week. I played two games.
no.
One kind of big that I haven't actually finished the review for yet, but I'm past the embargo, so whatever. How do you guys feel about Monster Hunter?
I am working my way up to it. I played a little Dauntless.
Right,
gotta
yeah, you
get
said
back
you were
into
into
Monster
Dauntless.
Hunter. I feel like my playthrough was kind of ruined by the friends that are just like, we gotta grind so that we can grind, so that we can
Right.
grind,
Right,
so that
right,
we
right, right.
can grind. And it's like,
Yeah, they're
no,
like
dude, I'm
rushing you
tired
through
of this.
everything.
Fuck that little balloon bat
Well,
thing.
I feel like you immediately just said, "What? How do you feel about Monster Hunter?" And
No, 'cause
everyone just thought about it. They're like, "Oh, I know what you're reviewing right now."
Yeah, it's like Wild Hearts is what I'm working on right now, and it is very much unabashedly Monster Hunter, like in a way where it's like you guys copied a bunch of stuff that, like, if you were trying to make a competing game, it's almost like you could have done without some of this to try and
Right.
get your own identity. But I don't. It's very strange because, like, I love Monster Hunter and millions of people do. So all the quirks and stuff that are tied to that series over its years and years of existence feel unique to Monster Hunter. So when an entirely different franchise is just copying a lot of that stuff wholesale, you'd feel put off by that, you'd think, but it honestly feels like this belongs here.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like
It's
Do you get a little cat sidekick too?
you don't get a cat sidekick, but you do get a sidekick. Like
What
it,
is it?
just do the inverse of shit.
it's like I described it as sort of like BB-8 from Star Wars. It's like a little
Yeah.
droid thing, but it's made out of
Okay.
wood and magic. So like
That's
it's like a creature thing, but like it basically serves all the same functions as your Palico, where like it can distract the monster in fights, it can put out healing stuff or give you resources and stuff in the middle of fights, and they disappear when you have friends because it's really only there to help you when you're playing solo.
Gotcha.
Right.
It's interesting that you're saying that though, because I feel my boss who loves like Monster Hunter is obsessed. Has been since whatever. I can't speak to it because I think I played only what was available on Game Pass, and even then on an Xbox, that bitch is struggling. So I'm thinking, and he mentioned he was like, so I played a little bit of it, and he said, it seems like it takes all the elements of Monster Hunter, and also keep in mind he used to work at EA too. But now he says he's seen outrage on the internet saying that it's not exactly like it has its own identity, but it isn't enough. It's not enough of a Monster Hunter sort of thing. So I'm like, well, yeah, what do you expect if you just said you want it to have its own, if you want it to be at its core the same, but it plays or feels slightly different, like you don't know what your expectations are. So it's very interesting that you're saying like you're basically saying it's almost 1-to-1 in terms of like what you would expect.
In a lot of ways, but like the other side of that is actually true, that it does go on a different track, but it does so in a way that Monster Hunters tend to do, which is because like every single Monster Hunter isn't exactly the same as the last one. For example, the most recent one, Rise, introduced the very new mechanic, which I love to death, the wire bugs. It's a brand new mechanic that gives you access to a bunch of new flashier movesets, gives you lots of new mobility. Like it's literally a grappling hook that you just send to arbitrary places in space, and then you just shoot in those directions. It's fantastic. And Wild Hearts doesn't have exactly that, but it does have its own take on a system that incorporates a ton of new movement and attack options to your base skill. It's what's called the Karakuri system, and it's essentially more of like this sort of like magical steampunk type stuff. Like you're building contraptions like in real time that once you use those contraptions in the battle, you get access to these movement options or attack options that you didn't have before you built the thing. And that has a resource like the wire bugs do in Monster Hunter Rise. So I guess it's different. Like it's a different way to play the game. But I could easily see a future Monster Hunter or a past Monster Hunter having something like this in it, because like it, those games also use traps. They also use like mantles in World, which lets you like do specific things, like either tank damage or float up in the air on wind vents or whatever. Like this is just a different system that achieves the same goals.
So there's different elements, and it sounds like there's just keeping it to keep it fresh. So I mean, I'm not gonna poke further because I'm curious, but like I'll wait for the 3MR to drop. But that's interesting. I have it on my wish list. I'm like, I was 2 seconds away from pulling the trigger on it, but I also realized like day one patches on PC, or not day one patches, but if we don't have that first patch, usually can be a little rough. So I haven't touched it because of that.
Yeah, I think they have put out patches for it since.
Well, I'm also poor, so if anybody wants to donate to me betting, you know what I mean?
Talk to me after the show. I'll see.
Okay, we'll
see
do
what I
it.
can do.
Husky Highlander asking me if I like Monster Hunter. I've played very little of it, but I think maybe like I put maybe 2 hours and change, and I enjoyed what I got so far. So like I actually really, really wanted to test it out because I think it was Iceborne that came on Game Pass or something like that.
Yeah, that's
And
an
again,
expansion
Copy.
for
Oh.
World.
right. So it was
And
World
Rise
that I
just dropped
initially
now.
played. Is Rise like on all consoles or is it like
It's on all consoles, but it's also on Game Pass.
okay, so then maybe I got to give it a shot because you know what? Anytime I think of these like sort of I don't want to say anime-esque, but like things that are more popular in the West, I traditionally think that it's just like for some reason Switch exclusive. That's I think because Persona did that for a while, so that's kind of where my mind is.
Weird.
I don't
But
know, I'm dumb.
I wanna answer Nick the OG's question. It says, so Casey, why bother buying Wild Hearts? It sounds so similar that it's beyond same playstyle. The draw to it would essentially be to get a new Monster Hunter experience because Monster Hunter Rise literally came out like 2 years ago now, and like they keep porting that original Switch game to all the other platforms. Like the PC port came out 1 year ago, and now the console ports have come out here. So if you've played Monster Hunter Rise then and are looking for something, like Wild Hearts will fill that niche. I feel like you'll get a very, high quality monster hunting experience in Wild Hearts. Like it is just as good as a Monster Hunter game, even if it's not as good as the best Monster Hunter game. If that tracks.
Or the monsters.
The monsters. My only gripe is really with their design and like the lack of variety in them.
Okay.
But like this is the first entry in their series. I think they have about 20 or so different monsters, which sounds like a lot. But when you have like it's hard not to compare it to Monster Hunter because like they're literally making a very similar game. But Monster Hunter has decades of additional monsters that they just throw in over time. And this game is promising that they'll be, adding stuff. But it's like there's a couple of monsters, and then those monsters have variations. So like you'll have an ice version of a monster or a poison version of that same monster.
Oh,
and Monster Hunter does that as
video
well,
game.
like with the different breeds, whatever. But they still have a wider variety of creatures that then have those permutations. And not Iceborne, but Wild Hearts feels like it's recycling the same core group very, very often.
All right, so that's the monsters. How's the hunting? Like the combat?
The combat is really good. It feels. I don't want to say like it feels faster, but it does feel different. One thing I'll say I like is, even though they copy a lot of the same trappings of what you do on like a Monster Hunter hunt in the Capcom game, like you have to pick up all sorts of items and fruits, berries, rocks, minerals, whatever that's out in the world as you're chasing a monster around. You also have to eat before going into a battle. You have to, like manage health and items and whatnot. They kind of uncomplicate a lot of the stuff that you're used to by putting like a ton of actions, like a shit ton of contextual actions onto your left trigger. So like your left trigger is hunter vision. Like it'll let you see things that you can mine for more celestial thread. That's your currency to let you build the equipment. It'll let you mine the equipment once you're next to it. It's the same button that picks up stuff when you're close to it. It feels so much less complicated when one button does this host of things. And the fact that it's a trigger means that like you're free to kind of play with the rest of the button configuration in really cool ways.
Would you say it's baby's first Monster Hunter? Because that in its own right sounds appealing to me.
I would definitely say this is much easier to get into and wrap your head around than core Monster Hunter. Like
Monster Hunter had a lot of reading.
Yeah, they talk to you a lot.
Daredevil.
They talk to you a lot. Yeah. I will say, like the plot is kind of just as forgettable.
There's a story.
There is a story.
I was about to go. Does Monster Hunter's stories?
They have stories. They all have stories. They usually revolve around trying to save a group, like a location, from the encroachment of monsters on a bad migration. Like something is scaring
It's a
monsters.
boring anime story.
Right.
But it's the story every single time. And that,
Alright, so
that
then
is
it's
still
fair,
the
whatever.
story in this. Like Wild Hearts kind of wholesale took that as its story as well.
Right.
So it's just as kind of uninteresting. But I will say the delivery in Wild Hearts feels especially low energy. Like all the voice acting and stuff is good. Like they sound authentic. Like I love the facial expressions too in the animations and stuff. But everyone talks very like lackadaisically. Like it's just like I can't stay engaged because it feels like they're kind of lulling me to sleep with the cadence of like their speech. Like it takes really long for a very simple conversation to reach its end.
Right.
So like that just wears on me.
I don't know. Sounds like interesting to give it a go. I heard the performance gets pretty bad on PC late game. Is that true?
Yeah, folks were saying that. I'm playing on console, so I can't speak to the
That's
PC
right.
stuff.
What am I doing?
I will say, there was some slowdown in like the first big massive map when I first started playing. I first started playing before release. They've already released a patch for consoles since the game is out now. I have seen a improvement in all that performance stuff.
Good.
Like it's not perfect. Like there's still some sections where when a lot is happening because like there are really big monsters, it's really big maps, lots of effects and stuff. Like sometimes it can start to run a little slower, but like just run around in the world, like seeing like pop in and lighting, like update,
It's
like
jarring.
while you're like that stuff hasn't happened as much. So like I do think it's gotten better.
There you go.
You're better than me because half of the time, if I'm really engaged into something, then this will impact all my reviews. Like pop-in is not a big thing for me unless it's like, oh shit, this person doesn't have a face and I'm talking, and then 2 seconds later now you have the details. That'll throw me off. But if it's just like there's rocks in the background or foliage, I don't give a shit. Whatever. But I'm waiting for that 3MR, man. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm trying to get out
That's
there
what I'm
as soon as
saying.
I can.
Hold on there. Nick saying Frost is the most well-spoken anti-reader I've ever met. I don't read in games. I like reading, just not in me video games. Because I'm sitting here, I got the controller or the mouse and keyboard or whatever. I'm like, let's ready to go. But first, all this. I'm like, nah, dog. I'm gonna
You
go
said
read a
you
book.
think I watched Star Wars. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. That first passage.
Thing, I was like, yo, you tricked me into reading a book. What is this?
You
Because I like to compartmentalize, right? You know,
Yeah.
when you're gaming, especially if you're hunting monsters, you got the gamer stance, both feet straight down on the ground, leaning forward. Hell yeah, let's go. But now it's book time. Like I would have been in the recliner with a nice lamp, cup of tea, some biscuits.
Biscuits.
Good time. Yeah.
He's from the UK now.
Oh yeah. They invented biscuits.
Yo, this is why I get shit too. Nick was just talking. He said Frost, Disco Elysium, 0 out of 10, stupid reading. I think that's why I can't full blown get into Disco Elysium.
Funny enough,
know
I like
everyone loves it.
Disco Elysium.
They voice all the
it's-
text though.
I know, but like for some reason,
It's
I'm
faster
just,
to read it. Though.
I think
I mean,
I
of
gotta
course,
get
yeah.
it. I think I gotta like get a knack and actually, because I'm probably like maybe an hour in, so I didn't go hard. But like,
Right.
I feel like in these conversations, like they're getting to the point where kind of like Casey's saying like they're chatting, but I'm like, yo, hurry the New York
Yeah.
speed, let's go. What are y'all taking 5 years for?
That
And
is
then
the
in this-
gameplay.
Right, but I can't. I haven't got well adjusted to it, and it's one of those things where like I know for a while I got shit for it. At least for the 3MR crew, where I was saying like I can't fuck with Hades, because Hades took a lot of my patience, and that's something I don't really have. So like when they're like, oh, it's an absolute perfect game, or it's not perfect, but like a great game, I'm like, no, I'm taking the L left and right, and then it took me kind of like a reset of my palate and realizing, yo, death is part of the experience. That's where it kind of helped me.
If
So-
you suck.
I do suck. I'm not going. This is why I've reviewed one like Souls-like game, and it was like a baby Souls-like game, and I would never review
Which one
anything
was it?
else like that. Fuck if I remember. It was like 3D pixels. I couldn't even tell you. Hold on.
3D
I know I have it
pixels.
somewhere here in like my drive. I'll tell you, and I'll put it in chat so that way I'm not interrupting.
I mean
anyone
that
else's
that is the secret of the Souls fervor is that realization that death doesn't mean you failed. Like it's part of the loop. Like once you
Right.
kind of wrap your head around that, I feel like a lot of people who bounce off of those games can start to appreciate them. Not that
Feel like
every
this-
single person should, but I feel like a lot of people bounce off for that specific reason.
I suppose, yeah. It's a good way of phrasing it. Like, you know, it's failing is part of the experience. It's like, yeah, you're a failure until you're less of a failure. It's most things in life are like this.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
already
yeah.
a failure in real life. I don't need the fucking game to remind me that.
Exactly. So like Souls likes and rogues kind of hide that fact that, or I mean, maybe that's why it's easier to get into Hades and your Souls likes nowadays because people are grouping together to say it's okay to suck at this game.
Yeah,
It's
Dick
like
the OG
AA
says
for that.
dying isn't failing. Giving up is failing. That's the actual in-game
Yeah,
plot
yeah, that's
message
pretty
and
much
what
it.
it teaches a player.
Guys, you can't. Nick, you're right. But I also don't want to feel like Goku, and I feel like I gotta take L's left and right in order for me to get stronger. That's the reason. You know, it's crazy though. Elden Ring might be the only thing that turns me around because I take an L in Elden Ring and I just come back like, you motherfuckers, I'm ready. And I think that game came at launch and I streamed for like maybe 2 hours. I'm like, I don't care. I'm in the beginning section getting wrecked, and I'm like, I will learn your moves. But also, it's just very draining.
Did
I
you?
kudos. Did I what?
Because like, Elden Ring being an open world, I fucked off the farm. I was watching Scrubs, just farming. And
Well, I was pretty
it
much
gives you the
farming for
opportunity to do
XP.
that.
But a lot of the times, the thing is that I didn't use like the guides or like anything along those lines. So I'm pretty sure I just put my fucking whatever XP or whatever towards dumb shit, and that's always what gets me. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to reset myself for that.
Yeah,
you know?
at least you put it somewhere. I wasted 3 hours on that, man, because I had not leveled. I did not like for some reason I didn't bother looking for it. I thought they would be a lot more obvious about
Right.
putting your levels and stuff. So I walked into that fight and I was like, I swear to God, those 500 souls are coming out with me. And I was like, fuck you, then I don't want them.
I also kind of had like a semi cheat because my boss was like, I will call you midday work and we will set away 2 hours and you will play this and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, I'd rather work.
Man would rather work than play Elden Ring. Unbelievable.
Well, it'd be different if I worked as like a CPA. You know where the fuck we work. 'Cause it's not like I'm working super duper trooper hard at that point, you know?
But yeah, those are my thoughts on Wild Hearts. We were on a completely different tangent. Also wanted to bring up Wanted Dead, which is also someone mentioned that Wild Hearts was EA. EA is just the publisher. It's an EA original.
Oh, sorry.
It's a Koei Tecmo joint. I'm sorry, no, it's an Omega Force joint. The people who did the Dynasty Warriors games.
Ooh, Mugen Fighters.
Yeah, so like honestly, very impressive from that team because they've been kind of trapped in a box
That was it called.
of making those Muso games, and
Muso, that's it.
yeah, they get real stale after a while. But this is something fresh for them, even though it's kind of the exact same thing as another franchise entirely. But I do believe it's well done. Like I am liking it.
That's funny because that's like the opposite of Souls likes. Those Muso fighters.
I recently watched the 3MR for Wanted Dead, and immediately I'm looking at like just the gameplay because I did the closed captions. I'm going back and I'm just wrapping them up, and I'm like, all right, Casey reviewed this, and I'm looking and I'm like, this shit looks shitty. And then the more actually I got past the point where I'm like paying attention to like the words, like make sure the timing's aligned, and actually like just reviewing. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, all right. I'm like, and the more chaotic and weird it sounds, I'm like, this is 100% up Casey's alley. I understand why you love it. Like I can't even be mad at you, dog.
Like I will not besmirch anyone who looks at that game or starts playing that game and feels like this not for me. This ain't it. Like this is terrible. Because it is. It's all those things.
Right.
But like it kind of doesn't care that it's terrible.
Yeah.
In a very weird way. Like it throws what it wants anywhere it wants. It does not make any sense. And I was upset about this at the start until I realized that there was no way to get around it. Like it kind of wrestled me into submission in terms of just like, look, this is a really, really bad mini game that we're going to put in the middle of the section. It comes out of nowhere. Like, I don't understand why all of a sudden we just finished this mission where we killed like hundreds of soldiers as a police unit. We killed hundreds of people, but now we're going to go sing karaoke.
That's the best part of it. I want to sing karaoke after I go to a battle.
Because of your review, that's the next game I want to play because I'm thinking of a cold take where I was just like, there's a lot of games that aren't always the most fun, but they're fucking weird. And if you can't be fun all the time, at least get weird with it. I'm a little more forgiving of games that are just weird instead of this is just kind of boring and bad.
Because like
this is weird and bad.
Because if they had toned down all that stuff to the point where maybe the story made a lot more sense, or maybe the characters were less cartoonishly ridiculous, then it would be utterly forgettable. Like the only thing we'd have to focus on would be that gameplay loop, which is honestly its strongest strength. Like all the other nonsense around it is kind of noise that gives it an an identity that you're either gonna hate or get accustomed to and start to fall in love with. But that core gameplay where they mix the third person shooting with like hack and slash sword stuff, it actually works. Like it's very basic because you only have a couple of sword combos, but the fact that you can just switch back and forth immediately into firing on enemies at a distance, and then you can dash, you can run, you can slide, get up close to them and start swinging on them with the sword. Like that feels fun, like
So
by
wacky.
itself. But
Okay.
it would get super boring because of how basic it is. But the thing that kept me going was one extra mechanic, which is when the enemies get to a certain weakness, they start flashing, which means, you can do like a cool finisher on them. So you hit, like, just like Batman Arkham, you hit like the two buttons together, and then an animation plays out where they do something like really dope. Great animation for the executions, right? But if more than one enemy is in that state, your character will go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Like there's no limit as long as you have as many people who are in that state and she's able to like get to. And in some cases, not even get to, because one of her executions is just she shoots them in the head with a pistol.
Right.
So like really ranged people, sometimes she'll just shoot and then she'll go back to some more executions. But like the game became me trying to line up so many of this. Like it was so fun to be like, if I can get this guy and then get that guy and that guy and that guy and then set off the fireworks. Like I was having so much
And then
fun.
I'm gonna go get lunch while she does this.
Right. Like it was so much fun. Like when I really like got the hang of that as the core loop of like, it's not really about doing sword combos. It's not really about shooting the people from, the half-assed cover. It's about setting up this freaking chain reaction. Like every single level became amazingly fun after that.
That's great. I'm inspired.
So like,
Every
yeah, I
time
had a
you were
great
just
time with it.
listing, every time you listen thing, like it's not about this, it's not about that. In my head, I'm like, it's about drive, it's about power. I don't know why.
Oh,
I'm so
Lord.
stupid.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. I'm so sorry.
Because it's weird, like with all the different elements that are thrown into that game, it's weird that I came out of the other side with such a singular vision. It's like there's so much happening. There's so much noise that it's very easy to get distracted. But the gameplay facilitated me basically following a very singular path, which is make my main character look as badass as possible. Like that
Right.
was the goal.
That's all that matters, though. It leaned into the fact that it was weird and the gameplay was engaging enough where you could be kind of absorbed by it. So I can't say I'm mad at that. Granted, I know the internet will say otherwise, but the internet is the internet.
Yeah, like reviews have been all over the place for that joint, but I really liked it. I kind of want to see a sequel. Like the story
No.
goes nowhere, fam. Like stuff is introduced in the beginning that just is never brought up again. They all get fired at some point, and then like it ends with like a cliffhanger that introduces information that you had not known at all, and then it ends with an anime cutscene, which is a flashback that doesn't tell you anything about anything else you just witnessed. So
Hell yeah.
no,
Impact
but then
in this
the
whole-
final
that
thing
goes
is a
with it.
video where you watch one of the characters in live action cooking a very cursed lasagna.
Oh no.
So
You lost me. You had me. You lost me.
like that's one of dead.
Reminds me of the time my friend's mama made some beet spaghetti. This thing was.
I don't mean to
some
make the
internals.
insensitive, but
Yeah,
was this person of
yeah.
the Caucasian nationality?
Oh, very,
Okay.
very
Just wanted to confirm.
southern and everything.
Southern? Oh, okay. Didn't expect that one.
Southern Caucasian.
Bless your heart.
But yeah, that pretty much does it for what I've been playing.
Fuck. Okay. It always comes to me last, and I'm like, it's already 11 and change. Let's fucking
But
speed
no, we're
run
good.
through this.
We
shit.
only got one topic afterwards, so say your piece.
Still gonna speed run through it.
This ends at like 1 p.m.
this ends by the time this man connects his Switch and he's playing Smash Bros.
Yeah, that comes later, so get ready.
What you call? What have I been playing? What have I been doing? So I wrote it down. Hence the reason I'm looking to the side because I always fuck up. So I realized I've been jumping from like show to show, like a lot.
Yes, awesome. That's great, Will.
But it's also like there's no
Is that Ash
fucking rhyme or
attempted
reason.
to interrupt?
Yes, yes, it is. He
Like,
told
it's-
me to.
It's just ad libs.
I love it. I'm not mad at it. I thought he was playing Hogwarts Legacy in the meantime. He was so focused.
Hey, listen, you guys talk about Monster Hunter. I know nothing about it. I was on Hogwarts Legacy. I hope that's not disrespectful to you, KC. I just had nothing to contribute. I was like, man, Hogwarts Legacy.
He said, "Man, Revelio." I'm
I,
figuring shit out.
I was legit over here. Like,
Well, hold on. If we are going to go down this rabbit hole of interrupting Will,
yes.
is there something that could get you into, like, the fact that Wild Hearts seems like a more new user-friendly version of the experience? Is that something that would entice you to try it, or no?
Me? Yes, actually, because I tried Monster Hunter once before because a close friend of mine really likes the series. But I tried it and I was like, I don't know, maybe it was I don't remember which one I played, sorry. But I don't know, maybe it was the class I was. Something. I thought what I chose would be something a little bit more fast. I know this wasn't like a what are those games called? You guys mentioned it, like the Dynasty Warriors. What are those series?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I know it's not that type of game, and I know you're supposed to actually like learn about the creatures, learn the patterns, and actually know how to find them and stuff. Which I thought, yeah, that sounds really cool. Hunt them, essentially, obviously. But I when I started playing, I was like, I feel like I'm sluggish. I felt too slow, and I was like, I can't.
Was this one of the like older 3DS ones, or?
It wasn't on 3DS that I played. What did I play it on?
Did you go to the Nintendo ones?
Because yeah,
I mean,
in the
like
West
Nintendo.
at least, yeah, like they were like stuck to handhelds for the most part.
Yeah.
Like I think there was like 1 or 2 on Vita even.
I mean, I felt that way on this Monster Hunter, the one on PC, until I swapped over to dual wielding, dual blades.
And that's I was doing maybe I played the demo for one because I didn't buy one, so I probably played the demo for a somewhat newer one. I don't know which one.
I was like, you got the Japanese ROM hack.
But I was dual wielding because in my mind I'm like, if I use something that's dual wielding, that's usually a faster moving. In general in games, if you're on a 2 of anything, you're usually like spinning around and crap. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I'll pick that one. 'Cause it's probably gonna be like more in the faster options. And I just felt really sluggish. So I will tell you, I wanted to play Monster Hunter Stories though. I didn't want to play that.
Of course, that's.
I saw that. I was like, oh look,
Monsty Hunties.
What the heck is that?
It's basically Pokemon, but in the Monster Hunter universe.
Oh, okay. I'm there for that. I can live for that. I'm gonna be confused as fuck, but I'll do it.
And there's 2 of them. I was like, what?
Really?
There's 2 of these? And they're on mobile too. You can play the whole game on your phone if you want it. I was like, well, without getting a ROM or something, you can play the whole game on your phone. I mean, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I might have to do that.
It's about ROMs. It's about power. Sorry, I'm just
okay. But no, because I was listening to the convo. I didn't know if I'd be able to contribute anything insightful. But no, I would be interested in trying Wild Hearts. My friend told me he thought it was pretty decent. So, and I think he actually said, like you said, like it'd be something more up my alley as an entryway in. So now that I've heard more people say that.
Yeah, it simplifies a lot of those mechanics that Monster Hunter overcomplicates in a lot of ways. So like I could honestly see someone, if you get real deep into Wild Hearts, if you then move on to Monster Hunter, be like, oh, this is that, but there are more layers. So like you're more open to diving into it. So yeah,
I did play Dauntless. I played that. I don't know how.
Dauntless is overwhelming as shit. Like
Yeah,
I
it
feel like
was.
I popped in. I'm like, yo, what am I doing? I'm talking to who? The UI just says everything. It
felt a little easier. It just the monsters felt a little whack when fighting them as a
Yeah,
group.
I couldn't mess with Dauntless. Like it controlled poorly. Like the fighting felt.
I didn't.
Kind
It
of.
wasn't no monster hunting. That was like animal abuse.
I didn't really enjoy and I don't know if Monster Hunter has exactly this or something akin. I'm sure you have to change things up depending on what you're hunting, which makes sense. But I didn't like the whole element in the element aspect in Dauntless. Like with your I felt like it was basically just like, as Casey would say for Pokemon, glorify rock paper scissors, because it'd just be like, oh, I'm going after what? Okay, so I'll just put on my water resistant armor and bring my, I don't know, electric. I don't remember the type, the things that they had there. But I was like, it basically
make it up.
My electric weapon. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't want to do that.
I
want to be like, I was like, I want to
to.
attack this monster in his hind legs because that's his weak. Like I like that. That makes more sense to me for a game. I don't know how Monster Hunter works. I'm assuming that it works.
It does both those things. Like it has like body part specific weaknesses, and like if you're because the meta game is that you're hunting for parts from a monster. So like if you break certain parts of a monster, you have a higher chance of getting the specific material you want. So like that makes mini games out of the fights with the monsters, because you're like, I need to do damage to just the horn right now. But then it also has the stuff with like elemental weaknesses and blah blah blah. So that stuff is in there, but it doesn't feel like unless you're dealing with like one of the real end game monsters, and like they have like a very strong resistance to something because like they're just made out of lava, and you show up with like a lava weapon, then like, yeah, you're an idiot, don't do that. But like pretty much everything else will have an effect, and then weaknesses will be a little more effective. You still gotta fight your ass off though.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. How much is it? Like a full $60?
You gotta wait.
Game or?
Wild Hearts is full $70.
I would not MSRP that bitch at all.
$70. Wow.
I got a demo. They need a demo.
This
Yeah.
More games need demos. Can we
Well,
start a
also,
petition?
That's what
here's
I'm
a good
saying.
question, because don't EA have like an EA Play that you can do a subscription thing?
You're right.
Oh
That's
wait,
it.
yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
So I probably have it.
So then you can
Oh,
It's
do
like
it.
wait,
Yeah.
a certain number of hours you can jump into and try it while you're in gameplay.
Doesn't that link up with Game Pass too?
Maybe,
Pass gets you
yeah.
like,
I think you have Game Pass
yeah.
Ultimate. Yeah, you automatically have the EA.
No.
Play
But there
sure.
isn't there like not EA Play? Doesn't EA have a subscription like specifically on PC that you can get from whatever their library is, like not just like a trial? Because I know my friend did that for
Yeah.
like FIFA. He's like, I'm not paying for FIFA every year.
Yeah, I think it's EA Play.
So yeah,
it's the
it
same
is
thing,
EA
yeah.
Play, and they have different tiers. So
Oh, okay.
There's,
I'm seeing it now.
if you get the pro one, and for sometimes like it'll sometimes like EA Play membership will give you 10-hour trial for a
Right.
game, but or you can upgrade to pro and then you can just play the game. So they have the base one where brand new game you get 10 hours, but
Interesting.
every other game you can play. But then once the game's not new anymore, then it'll just be in your library, or you can pay a little bit more, and then it's like just open season. Which
Well,
actually,
yeah,
I don't mind that. Where it's like you can still play the new game, and if you like enough, you can buy it with a discount. If you play that 10 hours,
Right.
it gets you a demo, even if a game doesn't have one. So I'm not even too mad at the at the tiers for it.
No, that actually makes a lot more sense, because then you can just play it, give it a little shot right then and there. Because even then,
Or you can
even if-
beat it in 10 hours.
You're
I
not,
don't
you're
think
not
you'll
beating
get
Wild Hearts
that.
10 hours.
yeah, you
Not
gonna be there for a
not Wild
while.
Hearts, but other games I've
I'll
beaten in
take
10
that
hours.
challenge.
I'm
Beat
trying to
and
think, like, what
refund.
has EA released in the last decade that can be beaten in
Need
10 hours?
Need Speed. They can be in 10
Need
hours.
speed? I need speed.
I said Need for Speed. Under.
Nah, I didn't hit it 4. I heard need speed.
I don't. Can you beat Unbound in 10 hours even?
Unbound. I don't know if you can beat it in 10
I don't
hours.
think you can.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really fuck with Unbound. I returned it. That's how
like
bad
it.
it was.
Really? Oh no.
I
I
like
had a
the
good time.
anime thing for all of 2 seconds, and then I got over it, and I'm like, all right.
You know what I did beat in under 2 hours though?
That ain't the right.
Because thankfully I don't do these for like the online play. Sports games. So I can beat like the story mode or the franchise mode in Madden in under 10 hours and go about my life.
That
Never
makes
touch it
sense.
Again.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. I was all right, let me do the stupid long shot storyline for this year and get my little quick Madden fix because I don't even care that much. And
Right.
10 hours of
honestly,
gameplay,
I
I'm
wanted
good.
to do that for Grid Legends, which I think is an EA game as well.
Oh god.
Yes.
Because that
It's
has a
game, right?
story mode that stars Kuti Gatwe from Sex Education, and I think he's like in the running to be like the next Doctor Who or something. Like I
Oh,
really
okay.
like that actor. He's Nigerian, or at least
Grid
he
Legends
plays
is on
a
there.
Nigerian in Sex Education. I don't think he's actually Nigerian.
Oh,
but I'm a fan of that dude.
you don't need the pro either. If you get the standard one, you can play it all the way through.
There
KC,
you go.
not even just 10 hours. You can
Oh,
play the whole
nice.
game through on the standard tier. There you go.
So anyway, back to what I was watching.
Right? Yes, Will.
I'm
'cause
working
I-
hard, Will.
No, you overtime. I ain't mad at it. I love the respect. I got one line in. Okay. So I've been watching. I realized I think I'm a sitcom slut. Because like, it came to a revelation when I was talking about the Lopez v. Lopez with Frost. Stop laughing, Casey.
What? You can't just say that.
Yes, I can.
I think
For-
I was sick.
for alliteration.
Slut.
Yeah.
You just turned into my mama.
Oh my god.
Watching them soaps.
Well, I used to be, man. Till they got like 45 seasons in, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Anyway, so I'm watching Modern Family, solely based off the premise that there was, I had interest in it, 1, and then 2, one of the writers that's currently on Mythic Quest or has been there from the get go. She wrote for a couple of seasons of Modern Family, and I like those sort of organic episodes that I've seen so far. So I'm like, hey, fuck it, I'll give it a shot.
He watched for Sophia.
My mom?
No, oh my God.
I was also like, I've had this, and this is a tangent that's terrible. I, for a while, thought Sofia Vergara was Puerto Rican. I just assumed people were Puerto Rican. That was totally wrong.
Colombian, right?
Something. I thought Orlando Bloom had to have been some level of Hispanic. That man is an English actor. And,
yeah, he's very English, I think.
Pero with a name like Orlando Bloom.
Come on, it's probably a stage name. It's probably a stage name.
It's 100%.
Like Tom Cruise is not Tom Cruise's real name.
We don't mention Scientology.
Apparently, he bought a house in Jersey.
We don't mention.
Like back when I used to be a title agent, I worked with an attorney who told he loved to tell the story that he did a deal where Tom Cruise bought a house in Jersey and he saw Tom Cruise's real name.
What is it?
I don't know what it is. He didn't tell me. He's an attorney.
Good work up to nothing.
Forbidden name.
John Blee Wombly asking if I've seen Arrested Development. No, I know that's on the to-do list.
Yeah, it's about to get pulled off Netflix.
What the hell is this?
You know I'm gonna watch it either way. Don't worry.
Blue
about it.
kept telling me to watch it, so I started watching it. It is good.
It's fantastic.
I've heard. Every time I'll have like my coworkers make like references and some about like some Star Wars shit. Like, fine, your Star Wars movies. I don't know what the fuck they said, and I didn't quite get it. And I just watched bits and clips. I watched it. Keep in mind, I went to college for film, and a lot of the things that they ended up doing through like the sitcom thing was they utilized clips. So I've seen bits and pieces. I want to watch it. It's literally on the to-do list. So thank you for bringing it back. Now I'm actually gonna make sure I take care of that shit. I've also, and I think I might just like shitty sitcoms because I just watched Lopez v. Lopez yesterday. Shocker. Also, funny to Frost, as if he can see me. But Frost and I had a conversation on the Will See Vlogs podcast. I'm not tagging that. But anyway, no, in that, realizing it's weird because there's been news that recently found out that kind of George Lopez, the person, has been kind of blackballing a lot of Latino like comedians.
We know that though.
I didn't know that.
Sorry,
I hadn't heard that.
Among the Mexican community, George Lopez is seen as a bit of an asshole, and a lot of it stems like he's always had beefs with people. But it's like it's strange. It's almost a Hispanic thing where it's like if you that trope of that one guy that's got problems with everybody. Everybody hates me. Everybody hates me. It's like I feel like you're the one fucking with people.
There's a lot of jumping.
He also had I think it was I want to say lupus. I can't remember. He needed a new kidney. His wife gave him one. He cheated on his wife later on. So, like, you're already like, so you're saying everyone's got problems with you, but you're also a cheater on the wife that saved your life. Like, you gotta, your reputation's tarnished among Mexicans.
I feel like that's a hypothetical that has gone around the internet for generations, and that man literally did that.
Here's the fun part: they still work together, like in terms of their productions. Strange. It's the exact same shit that I just had. I was talking about The Rock. The Rock has this Young Rock show, which I enjoy because I'm an old wrestling head. And I was just randomly looking through, and I was looking through the production and so on and so forth and see who runs it. And I'm like, that's his ex-wife that is there. And the ex-wife, I don't know if the cheating ever ended up going, but her husband is The Rock's personal bodyguard, like body trainer. So I'm like, this is some weird shit I'm not quite understanding, but good for them for having growth in their lives.
I like to see that. Yeah, it's probably mostly like this. We're all tied financially, right? That definitely probably helps to smooth over any rough edges because, like, just be adults and move on with your lives. Like, you don't need all that.
It's weird to think about, but so I was watching that, and there was a lot of episodes in that episode. I shit you not, Frost. He was talking about how pretty much he was taking advantage of Hispanic people to sell pillows and shit, and I'm like, this is a little too close to home given the recent news I'm finding out. Like, this don't quite add up to me.
Yeah, so, like the Latin kings of comedy, and they don't like him. They're all like, yeah, George just likes to drop names and say they're beefing just because he don't like you. Or he's
when you say the Latin kings of comedy, I didn't feel safe at all. I wanted
to. No, like Robert Francisco, like a bunch of old heads. Like this is like
this is proof that I'm very limited in my knowledge. I'm not even Hispanic at this point. I got to learn more. You got to
No,
teach me.
this is a hella Mexican thing, and it also gets Mexican American because his whole thing
Right.
growing up is like Eric Estrada, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I asked him for his autograph and he just blew me off. But he's like, I
that's-
never knew George like that.
That's partially what's been going on. There's this guy named like Ralphie Baboda or something
Yeah.
like that, Barbosa, and
That was
he's
a
been
little
taken off.
different. It's because Ralphie's taken off in Texas. He's a Mexican comic, and they were talking about him on George's podcast, and that kind of rubbed him the wrong way. And he's like, "How good could he be? I ain't never heard of this fool. You know, like who is this guy? Like, why are we talking about him? Like,
Yo,
kinda
but he
rubbing
showed his
people the
true
wrong way.
colors with that though. Well, the way I was looking at him, like, yo, are you serious? He's like, I don't believe in kind of like. It seems like he just wants to be, like you said before, the one Latino guy in the room, in front of a bunch of white people, and being
Yeah.
kind of the butt of the joke. But also because he's the only one that's there,
Yeah,
he
no.
takes advantage of it. It's it's kind of bananas.
George Lopez is a cultural sellout. That's
He's
just
the, he's the
assumption.
Drake. I don't want to put him in
We-
terms of like music.
What?
No, like we liked
Vulture.
we liked his original. It's not so much his material because we all enjoyed his material. It's when he started showing those true colors, which is like, yeah, there's really not much. I don't want space for other Mexicans, basically. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
Would
like,
you-
what type of shit is that?
Would you put him in the same class as a Carlos Mencia? Because I feel like Carlos Mencia is who has that.
Carlos
rap.
is just scummy.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I was about to go, Carlos. I don't think
Carlos is
Carlos
just a
is the
rat
same
because he
name.
steals jokes. No. George is
He's the
just
Amy
like,
Schumer, Carlos.
yeah.
He is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't. He's funny when he wants to be, and then he makes now insensitive jokes when I think about it, because I'm like, you can't say "dee in the same sort of vein. It's not exactly funny. It doesn't grow.
Yeah.
with it.
Like,
You can't say
that's the
that
thing.
no
It
more.
was never really funny, but it was.
Well, I think you got to keep in mind we were in an offensive era of comedy for a while now. And then
Carlos
when it ended up
Mencia
switching-
is like Dane Cook. You know, it's just
Oh,
like,
so he's not even funny. It's just he has
yeah,
an
you're like
audience
you're
feel.
not that funny. You got that audience, and you steal a lot of your better jokes, kind of thing.
Mm.
Whereas I'm not sure what the equivalent of like George Lopez is, but it is. Yeah, he hits a lot of cultural no-nos with us. So like Mexicans who get to America, live the dream, but then they're like, tighten up them borders, get them illegals out of here. It's like, yo, what are you doing? And he even does that in one of his older episodes where he's just like, I voted for Bush.
That's like a lot of Cuban Americans now. I don't know why. Especially they get right over from Cuba. They get to fucking
Yeah, I've heard of
Florida,
that
and then once
phenomenon.
they get there,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, whatever, whoever, keep them out. I'm like, you
Yeah,
just
like-
came out in the same boat. What
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking
Florida
about?
in particular, I've heard of that sort of thing where it's like they want to integrate and like the fastest way to do that is to basically set yourself apart from where you came from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of that. You're one of the good ones, kiddo. I was
Yeah,
like,
that whole
none of
thing.
that. Yeah.
Either way, I was watching that, and that hit close to home, just because I was looking, and I was like, damn, this guy's. There's a lot of shit that I don't know of, and I'm a little embarrassed that we even spoke about it, and I'm putting him on like this pedestal just from the content that I've seen, to which I'm just like, I had no idea. I've watched this How I Met Your Father.
Mhm.
I don't. It's very
Oh,
hard.
The continuation. Oh
The
my
continuation, the Hulu.
God. Is
one.
it still connected?
It's yes, it's still connected. At the end of the first season, spoiler. So if you don't care, spoiler. But let you know.
I don't
At the
care,
end of the,
so
it's
go right
chat.
ahead.
Whoever's listening later. Fast forward like 15 seconds later from now. There's Robin. Robin pops up at the end of the season. There will be a Barry. What's the guy? Ah, fuck, I can't think of the character's name. The
Neil
one
Patrick Harrison.
Neil Patrick Harrison plays whatever. He's gonna be in
Barney.
there too. Barney.
Yeah,
I don't
Barney.
know where Barry came from. But yeah, he's gonna be in that one too. All right, spoiler free. And now we're going to the part where like I've watched. It's the second season. I don't know why I'm watching it. It feels like the comedy didn't quite hit, and I don't know if I just didn't identify with it.
Mhm.
But the last episode, season 2, episode 4, felt like the most of How I Met Your Mother. It was kind of insane. It was out of the wall bonkers, and I really appreciated how it's got an opportunity to do that. I wanted to keep that momentum because How I Met Your Mother, for me, the first season, or not even the first season, the series in general is just like it's just a long goose chase. But eventually, the chaos is what introduces better comedy, if you ask me.
Okay.
And that's something that I'm looking forward to if they can keep that momentum. But like Chad is saying right about now, it's not really that great in
Yeah,
terms
they-
of its
they don't seem
main
to like it
content.
very much.
I agree. I'm just saying I've been watching it. Once I start a show like that, like the mindless TV, it's hard for me to get rid of it unless it just becomes a nuisance in terms of watching. And sometimes I just have it in the background. And I'm like, I feel smarter hearing these people talk. So that last episode made me feel a little better. And I've also been Bob's Burgers. I'm rewatching. I think I mentioned this last time.
That show was great.
I forgot that I thought it ended at one point, and I just stopped
They
watching.
had a movie.
I watched the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I really did. And also, Ash, you're frozen on my screen. I
Your
don't know if
camera's
anything's
frozen.
going on.
I don't know when that happened.
Oh,
You're in deep
oh
thought.
my god.
You're a ventriloquist.
But yeah, no, I forgot that I thought it finished. So because it finished, I stopped, and I forgot everything that was going on. So now I'm just rewatching. I'm like somewhere in season 3. Anyway, games. Let's be fast. I know time. I've been getting more into PC gaming, which is weird. It's bad.
No, yeah.
I haven't touched my PlayStation 5 or Xbox or Switch in weeks. Like, doesn't add up to me. And this also impacted me because at one point I kind of had not FOMO, but like I was like, yo, I'm really liking what I'm playing. We lost Ash entirely. I'm really liking
just popping in.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's back. Is he alive? We'll figure that one out. But either way, what you call? I was debating buying a Steam Deck. I don't know why. It keeps popping in my head.
I'm finna gonna.
That's what it feels like for me. It feels like it's right around the corner for me. But like I also I bought it and then immediately canceled the next day because I'm like, is it really worth it or am I bugging? Because then I see what's holding it back is performance for me. I don't know if I really want to go through that process unless I'm playing something that's small, itty bitty. I don't care. But then I have a gaming laptop on top of that. Even if that's not ideal, the Switch then becomes my backup. So if I'm thinking in terms of portability, I don't necessarily need it. It's just like
Steam Deck
sometimes
is big as shit anyway. So
I'm not even worried about the size of it. I'm thinking more so at the fact like sometimes my fat ass don't want to sit in this chair and I want to be sitting on the sofa.
He knows.
Laying in my bed.
So like it's a weird sort of thing. There's a level of FOMO that's there and I want to get it, but also in the same vein, like I know I wasn't the guy who had a DS or a Vita or so on and so forth. Like I had family members who did and they would let me borrow it to play Pokemon and shit like that, but I've never had it on my own. Switch is probably the only thing that I've kept, and even then I've sold my Switch a total of 4 times. Each time I flipped it for more money than I initially did. GameStop, you're stupid. But that's neither here or there. Listen, spend $300, get 4 and change. Don't ask me how the math works. They were
$4 for a Switch. That's crazy.
Not $4. $4.
You walking out of
change.
$4.23.
Oh wait, I got the pro membership. That's $5.60.
We eating.
But yeah, no, I kind of have that battle now. But outside of that, I've been playing this small game called Death and Taxes. This is where I look at my screen just so I don't sound stupid. So it's a 2D narrative game where you basically play as the Grim Reaper, point and click, and just basically think Papers, Please. But it's short, so you choose who lives and dies. But the problem is that there's information that's on the profile, so like you gotta make moral decisions. But also the Grim Reaper has a boss, and that boss will leave little notes and saying, "Hey, this person's scummy as shit. You gotta let them live." And then you make the moral call if you do that. If you do, you get more money and you can use it because you're working it as if like the gist is that you're working it as like a 9 to 5 and it's a regular like job. So it's interesting because of the fact like I've only put like an hour into it, but I really like what I've been playing it just kind of casually. And then also it's just full blown voice acting too. And I'm a big fan wherever they can do voice acting, whether it's real shit and they're just giving it a shot and because they're doing indie, or when it's actually like full blown in between. Like
what's this called again?
Death and Taxes.
Yeah.
I caught it on Steam for like $2.99. Don't spend it if it's like 10 to nothing.
It's got a demo apparently, so give that.
Play the demo if you like it. But
it's $13 right now. I'll wait till it's $2.99. Like you
I wasn't paying to pay that price either. But like it's sort of complex yet really simple in the same vein, and it's very amusing at the end because like you have a quota. It's like certain people have to die or certain people at this age have to live. Whatever ends up being the scenario, and then you have to kind of make moral choices. From what I hear, it's a short game. That hence the reason the $2.99 drop. But I really like it. I haven't played a lot of PC games. It showed in my last review, the Power Chord review, where it was like, you didn't compare this game to Slay the Spire, and I'm like, motherfucker, I haven't played Slay the Spire. Even then, I'm reviewing
I've not
this
played it either,
game.
yeah.
It was closer to what was it? Fucking
Monster
Darkest
Train?
Dungeon.
Darkest
yeah,
Dungeon. You
Darkest
mentioned
Dungeon.
that last time.
Yeah.
And well, even then, my point being is that like, if I'm playing something, I'm giving it whatever my opinion is of this. Unless
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
something, if I don't want to bullshit and say, yeah, it's like Slay the Spire, then people are like, well, how? I don't fucking know. I haven't played it. That's
Yeah, and that's fair.
Chill, take it easy. But whatever. And then obviously, I've been playing the game that must not be named. He's Ash is still playing it.
Kirby.
I'm not playing it right now.
Okay, I don't buy it. Show me the monitors.
Kirby and the
fine.
Forgotten Lands.
To which, and I've said this on the podcast, I will say this to you now, Casey. I have to apologize, man to man, for being so angry via the conversation with Kanye.
Okay.
Even though I still don't fuck with Kanye, I still don't find it
And
that
that's
big of a deal.
Perfectly fine.
I know his music is influential to you.
It's wholesome.
I do agree that Graduation and all, he has albums that are fucking bangers. He's not that influential to my life though, and
Fair.
I kept hearing it.
Fair.
So, but that was a lot of Hispanic rage that came out for no reason. So,
don't blame it on Hispanics.
Listen, honestly, I think if you put me and Frost in the same room and we're angry, you're fucked. Like we got grandma chancleta energy.
We
You don't
got
want
two
that.
different kinds of anger too. He's got that
no.
like in your face now. Meanwhile, I'm plotting your dad.
You got the plan out the next 13th. Well, it's not 13th reason why, I guess, in that point. But Dahmer, I don't know what the fuck these the kids do it nowadays. Anyway, so yeah, apologizing for that because obviously.
All right, yeah,
our next topic too.
we're definitely gonna get into that. Like, does this wrap it up? Because that's actually a pretty good transition.
I'm gonna wrap it pretty fast though. I'm just
All
saying I put 37 and a half hours in. I have been doing a lot of side quests. It's just some of them are stupid, some of them like kill a troll. I'm there to kill a troll. I'm having some fun. It's just the map is too comically large, and that's where I get lost because now when the further you get into the game, you get things like the broom, you get things like the fucking mount and shit like that. And then at that point, I'm like, oh, I don't care. I got nothing else better to do. Here I am trying to freaking capture beasts and take them to my sanctorium or whatever the fuck it's called and like pet them and be friends with them. It's stupid, I know. But like I really enjoy what I've been playing so far. And keep in mind, I don't have heavy ties to Harry Potter. I've read the first one. I've watched the movies like most people just because it's on USA 24/7 around Thanksgiving. But, you know, outside of that, I don't have heavy ties to it, but like there's been so many side quests that's just been occupying my time. I literally have like on my iPad a checklist of how many quests that I have left. So I'm getting to the end. I know I'm right about there. I just learned some curses that are not bad words, but
I was like, what?
and it doesn't help that I'm a Slytherin because
Yeah,
you're looking at me
You're a
wrong.
snake.
Just
You a snake.
get a little crucio on that ass. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I think that's a good stopping point where we can start transitioning to our main topic.
Okay, so yeah, on that note, we will open up the floodgates to all that has been happening in regards to the release of Hogwarts Legacy. We talked, like Will mentioned, a little bit about this whole situation just before the game came out, about this whole separating the artist from the art type situation. And now that we have the art out to the public, we've kind of seen the fallout of when a very bad person is tied to a, some sort of work of art that a lot of people adore, and how like lines get drawn and people start throwing names and back and forth, and like it just gets really, really messy. So I want to start this off by saying I don't want to rehash a ton of the moral implication of a person making a decision to play the thing versus boycotting the thing. That's not what this discussion in particular is about. Of course, we'll probably lean into it here and there, but the thing that I found very interesting in the actual story, which is that the New York Times posted an opinion piece from an author who is defending J.K. Rowling, is that a lot of people feel like they should not have. And I'm of the mind that a journalist's job is to give you information for you to make decisions, right?
Okay.
So the call to have New York Times, which is a generally left-leaning kind of center-middle publication, for them to post a thing that is very kind of opposite to what they tend to be, like what most of the writers tend to be, because they're putting the information out there for their readers to view and respond to and whatever. like, is that terrible? Like, what's in the piece may very well be terrible, but the act of New York Times posting something from the opposition in that regard, is that in and of itself terrible? Because a lot of people are saying, like, they shouldn't be doing this.
Y'all seen Elvis?
Like the
No.
biopic?
The new movie?
No,
You're
I
not
have
You know
like
not.
the person.
I'm not white, buddy. I'm close, but I'm not there.
Oh, it's
Like,
a magical movie. God, it's great. What is it? It's like in that point where Tom Hanks is giving him merchandise and he's got the I Heart Elvis buttons and the I Hate Elvis buttons. He's like, either way, Elvis is going to profit. And that's just how I see it. To where the conversation is, should they, shouldn't they? It's like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I just see it as they're playing this game. I don't think New York Times is thinking too much on it. Like, oh, these are my thoughts, or I'm giving a platform for the opposition voice. It's like, it's just their business. It is weird because they just like sent out a letter or something. Because I had to read a bunch of other.
So for a little
things
bit more
about
context
it.
on that,
Yeah.
it wasn't like, say, the Times itself, but it was a lot of contributors who write for the Times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a lot of advocacy groups and people, like celebrities and groups, who also sent a letter. So 2 separate letters were sent to New York Times where they were kind of criticizing some of their coverage of trans issues. Like, basically, they were saying like they were kind of not being fair in terms of how they were representing, talking about trans issues and trans people in their coverage. That happened a day before they published this opinion piece. So on the surface, it definitely looks like there's a pattern here where the New York Times kind of has some anti-trans sentiment. And then this opinion piece is kind of like a cherry on top that for sure they knew would inflame a lot of opinions, right? And I'm not saying that that it was the best decision. But on one hand, I feel like if you're going to be a journalistic entity, you have to publish what people are going to read. And if it's on a topic that is kind of has galvanized the public, like this Harry Potter video game, like you're going to want to see people arguing on one side and then the people arguing on the other side. Like if this opinion piece goes out, you're absolutely going to get a bunch of think pieces of people saying the opposite of what, what's her name again? Pamela Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Pamela Paul, who's I think like she's known as being kind of a right-leaning, kind of anti-trans writer as well. So it's not surprising that she would write a thing in defense of J.K. Rowling's stance, trying to say that J.K. Rowling is not transphobic, which a lot of information is out there that proves otherwise. But
I mean, did you read the piece? It was a little stupid in that basically her definition of being like phobic of anything is actively violent towards it.
And that,
So like they're not racist unless they slap a Mexican or something. I'm like,
Wait,
yeah, like
so
that's the
means I
talking point
can't-
for a lot of right-centric people.
That means I can't be an arachnophobe because I'm not trying to murder spiders. I mean, I guess I am in the game,
yeah,
but like,
pretty much.
I'm confused.
Yeah. You're not anti-spider if you're not stepping on any.
Yeah.
But I
you're
love
not-
Spider-Man. There's too many rules in this game.
Oh my god, here it comes. Yeah, I don't know, man. The journalism world is a strange place. They probably just trying to keep up with the times, really.
Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, this is happening. Like, these are the times, right? Like, people are talking about Hogwarts Legacy and the fact that J.K. Rowling has stated that she's taking sales of the game as proof that people care about her transphobic stances, which I know a lot of people have jumped at that quote in particular to be like, that's why you shouldn't play the game, because she said that that's where the money she gets from it is going. That's a troll, right? Like that's very much her trying to antagonize the group of people who she's in active.
Nah, bro, she
disagreements
weird
with.
like that. But I think that's where you need that separation,
Mm-hmm.
because to a certain degree, it's like, let's say if a fan of me or whatever, and I'm like, every time you watch me or you donate, I just take that as a more positive feedback loop that you love that I hate chinchillas or something like that. Like they don't know that much about me. They like my work. They like what it's done for them, right? They don't know me like that. It's almost like she has something's happened with her ego.
Oh,
where
100%.
where like she needs a big old ego check, and that's like there needs to be 2 barriers. If we're gonna separate artists from their work, that's the consumer needs to separate them, but also the creator. I think at this point needs to learn that to a certain point, these people don't know, like they genuinely don't know about you. It's almost strange to think because she can be like, I'm J.K. Rowling, I made Harry Potter, but when people think Harry Potter, they're thinking like Daniel Radcliffe,
Yeah.
they're thinking Rupert
Right.
Grant,
It's
right?
bigger
At this
than
point,
her.
they're like, if you've seen her in the street, no,
You ain't gonna
like
recognize
sure,
her.
some people who are big nerds are like J.K. Rowling, and others like, who the hell is that lady?
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than her, and she doesn't realize that.
Can't
I
argue
just
with
wanna-
Tracy too.
That
That's all, you cannot argue. But I wanted to say two things. Both one thing that Frost said, and one thing that Nick said. There's a video. Is it okay to mention other content creators
Yeah.
on your like actual money? There's a
He's
content
He's
creator.
blackball in the industry.
I never asked. I never had to before. But there's a content creator who made both of these points in the video, which is his name is Mighty Keith, and
I
it's
saw
like
it. Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then based on like one, like Nick said, people will use Twitter for talking about boycotting a billionaire transphobe when that company is owned by a billionaire transphobe because he made fun of pronouns, right? And then also like Frost says, like Harry Potter is bigger than J.K. Rowling at this point. Like I understand she's a creator. Obviously, it's gonna end up back to her in any way for anything, and I get that. But no, me personally, big fan of Harry Potter. I've read all the books. I watched all the movies. When this game came out, not once did I think about J.K. Rowling. I kid you not. I don't think I remembered her when this game, because all I thought was, oh, sweet, I get to be in the Harry Potter world, but not as like, because I played some of the older games where you just play through, basically the movies or whatever. But this was like, oh, my own adventure. I can do Unforgivable. Like this really felt like I can do what I want. Granted, I figured out before the game came out, like your decisions don't make that much of a difference, but that's okay. We're getting it. Maybe next game. But still, I was like, this is crazy. This seems like this is going to be what Jedi Fallen Order was for Star Wars fans, but for Harry Potter fans. That's what I felt when they first showed this game. Like, this is the game that Harry Potter fans have been waiting for a very long time. The same way it's been a while since we had, unless you like really enjoyed Battlefront, but that wasn't like a Jedi game per se. You know what I mean? So that was the game that Star Wars fans were waiting for. So I was super excited. So that's how I feel for it. Now, obviously, when it, like you're saying, this is more so for the piece that New York Times wrote.
Right. Like I'm mainly focusing on the conversation around it versus the moral imperative on doing one thing versus the other. Right. Like
for me, I'm the type of person that even if I blatantly disagree with something someone says, I'm never against someone saying what they want. Honestly, even if I hate it, I don't like any stipulation on freedom of speech at all, because then I feel like it's not really freedom of speech. And I want to be able to say what I want one day if I feel like I need to, and people can disagree, and I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with what I say. And I think that's part of how that works. So if they are, as long as no one's doing something illegal, I really don't care what anyone says. That's basically what it boils down to me. As long as you're not literally saying, hey, let's go, I don't know, storm this business, or storm this
government building.
Storm this government building. I was as long as you're not literally telling someone, hey, let's start a riot.
Let's go commit crimes.
Let's go commit crimes. I'm like, you said your opinion. It can either be proven wrong for a multitude of reasons or not. And that's part of how a discussion starts. And I think that's what people need.
Very interesting point to bring up, because that's where some of this line is blurry, right? Because some of the things J.K. Rowling has said and stated that she is either in favor of or, has friends who are involved in, does have some real world dangers to the trans community, right? Like she's said she's in favor of certain practices that limit healthcare options for people who are looking to go through like gender, I'm forgetting the proper term, but like gender affirming procedures, something like that. Sorry, I apologize for my ignorance.
You don't have to. No, we're learning too, dude.
But like she's basically been against a lot of these practices that have proven to be beneficial to people going through transitions, right?
Right.
And an argument could be made that giving her a platform or giving anyone who has similar ideas a platform to share that information could be harmful because it can influence policy, it can influence people to literally stop persons from getting care that they need that would then cause danger to their lives, right?
Right.
So does something like that equate the same level of concern as a flat out, hey, I want all of my followers, like this is me, quoting some radical right-wing person on the internet.
Someone to clip this and make him talk out of context.
Right, yeah, like don't
now.
take this out of context. But
Ain't
someone
got a clip of this little new AI generator things.
like, so this is based someone on the internet saying like, hey, all of my followers go and attack this marginalized group of people because they are the problem with society, XYZ. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that is a clear and direct like danger, because if someone does have a level of influence and does have people who can mobilize and they say something like that, that's something you probably don't want to just broadcast out to the world, because like someone could act on that. But this sort of like several step removed background sabotage to a group of people can be just as damaging. But how would you go about policing that in the public sphere? Because like you said, Ash, it's very important that freedom of speech is maintained. Like I'm in the same boat, like where I don't think just because I disagree or dislike certain things that people say that they shouldn't be able to say it. Like I would want to know where the dumb shit is coming from. Like I want to know that this person is tied to these certain ideas, so I know to either steer clear or to be informed on like where their stances are in that regard. So I think it gets a little muddy because like we're aware of this stuff and we know that there are certain dog whistles, they call it, like certain phrases that people of that kind will say that means not the exact call to action, but it means, hey, at some point, this is where we want to end up. And that end point is damaging to those people.
Mm-hmm. I think kind of like, and obviously without even going too deep into it, for like the Andrew Tate thing, because he ended up getting like banned off of YouTube and other social media
Man's got arrested.
Right? Well, now, yes. So like, but that's,
like, arrested him.
Yeah.
They were getting him off of the platforms because from what I can tell, they felt that same way. Like this is going to be causing more trouble for the people that are being spoken about. In this case, women, but in general. So I'm like, because like you said, there's a line somewhere, but finding where it is hard, because I think without letting those type of people talk, you don't realize how many people have the same mindset as that person.
Yeah, they go retreat to their echo chambers like Parler or Truth Social or whatever, right? And then they start scheming outside of the public eye. And then because I'm like, if that person was never on, like if Andrew Tate was never big on a platform and other was it Red Pill content creators or whatever, if they weren't on a platform and we didn't see how big they were getting, because it's not like the people who followed them didn't already have something of a mindset. I'm not saying they didn't amplify it or make it worse, but those people already existed and already had something akin to their mindset already. So seeing how much they blow up kind of really shows you where the world really is for people who agree with that mindset. So I think it's important, at least in the beginning, to see, okay, this is where people are mentally. This is what they're not saying ill. I'm just saying this is where they are in their own thoughts. Before someone gets me out of context, I'm just saying this is where their thoughts are. Okay.
So it's like better than me. You are
trying
way
to
better
see.
than me, Ash.
I try. I'm trying.
It doesn't take much effort if it's better than me.
See, I don't know. I don't know about that, because I think it just normalizes it too much. I like what other countries have done, where people do believe in the freedom of speech. I believe in the freedom to live your life without fear of anything going on with you. And words of meaning, words have power. That's why there's other nations that's like no hate speech, no cries to violence, et cetera, et cetera. And I think if anything, America is just too obsessed with their freedom of speech. It's almost become kind of like the next gun law.
We're too obsessed with
we got our liberties. Which is
it's like Nick DOG is put in chat almost. Like there's a lot of people who kind of don't fully understand what freedom of speech means. Like Nick DOG says, free speech does not equal say what you want with no consequences. It means it's illegal to jail you over it. That's it.
think some people should be jailed for what they say.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer of freedom of fuck around and find out is how I see it. And I mean that in the most loving way because in this because when you look at it like that, right? One could take it as an aggressive notion and sure, right, whatever. But like if somebody ran up to me and just dropped or ran up with one of my homeboys, dropped a hard R, and then I'm like, oh, you're aware that I'm either gonna try to approach you with education or we're fighting. That's it. Is on site. It's not even something I want to do.
But that qualifies as hate speech, right? That's someone antagonizing another group. And if you were to fight that man, as far as I'm aware, he instigated that because he said a thing in order to get a rise out of it.
Consequences happen at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody goes to jail, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But my thing also at least with media, because keep in mind, I went to school for film and radio, television, broadcasting. A lot of things what they do for journalism is focused on like being independent and not going left or right when it comes down to this bullshit. But when I hear shit like this, and I know it's an op-ed, listen, I've written shit nobody fucks with all the time. Like, I'm pretty sure I've written some things in reviews and people are like, what the fuck, this guy's is a goddamn idiot. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. You can go with that. Just don't vibe with me later. And if we randomly come across and you're like, oh shit, like now I agree with what he's saying. The beauty of it is that you can absorb information. We're not going to agree one-to-one perfectly. I get that. But then I also think of the shit like, again, journalism integrity. And then I think of shit like Fox News. And then I think of the shit that's like on one end, that's like people believe this, people speak it, and we normalize it. And instead of actually having like an actual education of regarding some of these things, right? Because whether you mutually, whatever your stance is on anything, it could be controversial. It could be as simple as like fucking, what is it called? Pound cake with applesauce, right? Who cares, right? You love it or hate it.
It makes it dense.
No. Roll back.
That's your homeboy. That's your homeboy. You can figure that one out.
Which homeboy? Which one?
Why am I taking
the one that's host? This is
you?
Why am I taking
it ain't me. This is you. I'm not trying to. Yo, put the bullets away. Put the bullets away. My point that what I'm trying to say is that there's shit like that becomes such of a larger conversation, and we just allow it to fly, and it shows in our everyday life. It shows in our laws. I mean, the shit that goes down, and I hate to take it that way, but like, let's look at Florida. Y'all don't want to read books? Y'all don't want to educate? Y'all don't believe CTR? Y'all don't believe in just generally understanding and grasping information? Oh, we don't trust the source. Oh, your source is Facebook. Fuck off. I'm not paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Oh, your source is the fact that you believe that fucking Biden is asleep half of the time. Listen, I don't care what your political stance is. My life of this is, one, don't be an asshole to other people. If you are, you have to re-examine who you are and adjust where those things are aligned, because guess what? If everyone's looking at you awkward, maybe that's a teaching moment. And look at this in the same vein. Like this, I don't pay attention to the New York Times. I don't pay attention to any of those main things that's popping up too, because fucking didn't the Wall Street Journal just said skip breakfast because we're poor?
Yeah, they did.
Like, let's not go there.
I think that was also an opinion piece, though, right? Like,
I understand that, and it's gonna be a thing, right? But like, there's shit like that where I'm like, I'm not focusing on it. But the thing is that again, you wrote what you said, you believe firmly that whatever it is, and the consequences that come with that will either be the backlash of the internet or you learning from the get-go. That's the only way I approach it, and I look at it like, if we're gonna continue to go down the route of just ignorance, then what will happen will happen. I'm not saying I'm doing anything about it, but if funding drops, if you lose sponsorships, whatever ends up being, why do you think Fox News can't fucking keep sponsors? Because they say dumb shit that don't make sense, and people are like, these are not morally attached to us, so we're extracting out of that. My point being is that it's gonna happen. Have your opinion. But if you're going to have a closed mind on this bad boy, then you're never going to learn, and you're going to be stuck in that bubble, and you're just going to be that shitty person. And if you're okay with living and being the shitty person, or you want to live in a reality that everything makes sense and like Donald Trump is still president and like J.K. Rowling is a genius and all this other stuff, first and foremost, her books aren't even that good. Let's calm down, all right? I've read Percy Jackson. Chill the fuck out, all right? Like, no, we got options.
Weird enough to bet.
My point being is that like we can go into this argument and we can go in like guns a-blazing and we can go through it full blown, whatever your opinion is like, hey, here's your freedom of speech. I don't have a problem with people thinking that. I just don't think it's okay to normalize it. And then it becomes the situation where people believe it. And now we're in look at our political spectrum right about now, where we believe, yeah, no, sure, it's fine. You want to get an AR and just shoot up a kid or a church? Knock yourself out. No. Incorrect. Wrong answer. Look back at your life. educate yourself, and then make the next steps. So I say this with love. I know it may not seem like it, but the point being is that like if you're a person who is willing to understand and absorb different opinions and maybe and absorb that what's wrong, or maybe I'm wrong. I did the same thing with the Kanye thing. Casey, I'm pretty sure we've argued about dumber shit where I was wrong entirely, and I'm just like, I mean, the one I'm not dying. The one hill I'm dying on is New York's better than New Jersey, but that's not here or there. But I'm just saying, you have to go through it with a cleansed palate. You can't go through with thinking, yeah, I'm right, this is right. Like, again, everyone is looking at you. Maybe, oh, I'm the problem? Yes, and that's okay. Learn from it, though. So, like, if this person believes in that, that's cool. Whatever your consequences will occur. And that's just that. And that's how it's going to be with all media outlets, too. Whether you support Fox, CNBC, whatever, all this other shit that you go through, cool, whatever. But I don't know. I'm just yelling at this point, so I'm gonna stop.
No, I mean it's a very it's a subject that of course stirs a lot of emotion because like I am sort of a sucker for debate, right? Like
you do. You like the chaos.
Yeah, I really, really do like
Hence why I'm here once
back
in a while.
and forth conversation, right? Like if someone has strong opinions about a thing and I have differing ones, I love to hash that out because as much as many people may believe I love being right, which I do, I'm not gonna lie, I like being right.
I think most people like being right.
Yeah, like
Clip that.
Not me, bro.
Not me.
I like being wrong.
It gets lonely.
But
right.
but the point I was getting to was like I also love when I learn stuff. Like and that like if I have a very strong belief in something and someone tells me why that's actually wrong or educates me as to why I was had a poor way of thinking, that allows me to grow. And then in the future, I can be even more right. Like that's how it works.
This man is the definition of petty.
He's out here on Goku levels of right.
Like I'm saying, like
this man is an Goku in Jersey. We've been through this. He likes going the hard route, and then he loves being correct. We've heard this so right.
Nah, see that's just having conversation though.
Yes.
I like debate. High school where it wasn't about who was right, who was wrong. It's about what bullshit could I get away with. And they didn't study up on their fallacies. That's their problem. But at the end of it, they would say this person was the better debater, not this person won the debate.
Yeah,
so whatever they were arguing
is
correct.
Don't ever call me the correct debater. Don't do that.
The correct debater.
Don't do that.
That's what I hate about this internet culture is that they think like that's what arguments and debates turn into. That whoever wins that moment right there. We're all gonna agree that
right.
No,
and that's
bro.
that's just not how it works.
I've been on debate teams. I've had to argue things I didn't believe for, but you got your fallacies, you got your red herrings, your straw mans, whatever you can use just to get the point across. That's fine, and I think that's what's happening here. So to the original point, should the New York Times even be posting these kind of opinion things? Who do you get upset about? The guys putting out the pieces, or the people who are paying them? I don't pay New York Times. I ain't seen a New York Times piece in a while.
I read a synopsis from
somebody else's synopsis. Exactly.
just to not pay.
They're gonna do what it takes to make money. Is you can only get upset with the people paying them.
So then just don't do fucking newspapers. Grow up. The Escapists went past it. Now we're internet. So
but that's kind of what the core of what I'm getting at is like I don't even think you could be upset with the people paying them because you. Like as a society, like you gotta be open to hearing the other side. And I know how rough that can be. I tuned out a lot of Donald Trump after his presidency started because I couldn't take it anymore. But that was after I listened first. Like once I got to a point where it's like this man ain't about nothing. Yep. And like I had a feeling he wouldn't be about nothing, but I had to make sure. Yeah. At that point, it's like, all right, I'm not hearing anything new. Therefore, I can tune them out. But like you show up to a conversation that maybe you're not the most well versed in and you have strong opinions. You can't just be like, all right, I already know where I stand. You got to hear some of the nonsense before you decide, oh yeah, that is what I thought it was. Or maybe there's something here.
But how many people got to hear the nonsense? How much of a platform we talking? Like a lot of us knew Donald Trump from his Apprentice days, full of shit. George Lopez now it's coming out that he's a big asshole, whereas all the Mexicans knew, right? So how much of this platform do they have to be given?
I mean,
did you have like a George Lopez cult and no one told me and I didn't join? Because like it
You're not
seems like I should have
Mexican,
known this. Okay, fine, I'll take that. Admission, Mexican.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is.
but no, in terms of the question of how big a platform they should get, like that's a good question. Like I don't know if I have like a solid 100% answer as to how big should a message get, but like we live in a world of like millions of micro communities, right? So I would say at the very least, any group that is of a certain mindset, like if you label yourself as part of this group or that group, and then that particular group or stance has opposition, you should open yourself up to hearing what some of the opposition has against you, right? See if it makes sense at all. Because I'm not saying it will, but you should at the very least know what they're saying about you.
I think I'm of the same mind, but there's an asterisk if it's extremes. Because I'm thinking like back in the day, I'm like, I'm thinking like if I was a black man back in the day and I just lived in the South and I came across and people were talking about, you know what, maybe the KKK is correct. No.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like, I'm not talking about full on extreme. Like
but
if
that's
you know
also,
a group that only stands for violence and hate is trying to get a platform to like spread, like, come on, like at that point we have enough information. Right.
That's also where the lines blur though nowadays. Like so people see people when they go through the J.K. Rowling situation, Rowling, whatever you call the heifer, and the point being is that it becomes whatever the situation, but that ends up being where it becomes so toxic and it becomes such a deeper conversation where, you know, like now it's becoming kind of like it's infesting a little bit and it's getting in sort of a community where it's growing. So I'm of the mind that you got to kind of nip that in the bud where you can, because of the fact that they don't live in the plane of existence we do. And that's the real world. But the thing is that it's growing at such a level where it starts to fuck around. And it becomes where we did find out and we dealt with how much bullshit throughout the last couple of years or even throughout our lifespan right about now. You know what I mean? It's just kind of bananas to think how we've let that freedom of speech, quote unquote, be a thing. And it's gotten to extremes to the point where now it's now like a lot of people associate one side of a party, whether it be Republican or whatever, green, wherever you put, they associate it with the crazy because of the fact that they live on different planes of existence. But in reality, that's not the case. I would argue probably 90% of people are in the middle.
The bell curve exists for a reason.
I know, but that's just statistical anomalies and other stuff. I have a political education by proxy when I used to write papers in FIU. It's a little
what?
FIU, bro.
Don't say that.
Oh my
International University.
We could do no. You're gonna have to pay me for anyway. Keep going.
Yeah, boy. See, the thing is, ultimately, fucking around is a privilege. It's an entitlement. Not everybody can afford to just listen to that ish, you know. Whereas somebody says they called for my death, you know. Let's say you just see two people running down the street. One person says, "I'm gonna kill you." The other one's screaming, "They're gonna kill me." And we're like, "Hold on, I want to hear this. I want to hear what they both have to say real quick." It's like, no, there's too much tension. Everybody's trying to get both the stories, trying to be referees. People are screaming and naked. And I was just like, this is the worst place to have these kinds of conversations. We have lost the finesse to fight for what we want. We just scream now.
Yeah.
All I'm hearing is
because there's so much noise.
Yeah.
Like the internet has introduced so many voices, so many insignificant voices at that, like on both sides, honestly. Like there are people who are advocating for good who don't know how to do that properly. Like and so they just clutter the talkways. And it's unfortunate. I don't know what a solution could be for that sort of thing, but on an individual level, like I still maintain that like I'm not going to retreat to an echo chamber. Like that's
why I said that with an asterisk.
Yeah,
because I think we're into the same thing because we don't want to go in that. But then again, I don't know if I should be listening to you because you don't like mint, and you're a sociopath is what I basically found out through this episode.
You don't like mint? But
he said toothpaste.
Mint is for toothpaste and mouth refresheners.
Yeah,
not
shut up.
For eating.
Yeah,
stop talking.
Thank you. Frost
I think you're the minority right now.
I've always been the minority. Nudes fucking every day of my life. Do you know where I live?
Hey, I want to hear that. I'm a double minority. Okay.
Oh, all right. So we're playing all.
All right, Vin Diesel, calm down.
Double minority.
Double minority.
What is he? He's racially ambiguous.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
I gotta get me off this microphone.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone for quite a while now. Are there any final thoughts on this topic? Like, I know we didn't come to like a resolution, but I wasn't intending to. Like, I just think it's a very interesting conversation. It's gonna rage on for years to come, but I just wanted to get a couple of voices to sit down and talk about it. And I think we did pretty well. I don't know.
Final
got
thoughts. The internet as a platform for a political movement is stupid. Y'all need to stop. Go back to like your town halls or what. Like, get off of the internet. The internet, as far as like hearing people's messages, hearing them out, is a horrible place, and I can't stand it. That's all I'm getting from most of this. Where I'm like, y'all are right, but the way we're doing all this is horrible. Right, I'm down to rebel, but I don't know what y'all stand for. I don't know who we're hanging. Like, I'm not.
I can tell you what they stand for: drive, power.
Oh my god!
Get this man out of here.
Oh brother, this guy stinks.
That was spot on. Will.
That was really good.
Can you
I
like
like that.
record that so I can like use that as a soundbite so that real one just in
Absolutely,
case?
yeah. I can
All
give you that. That's not an issue.
Okay, so Ash, did you want to add anything before we wrap up?
I was just gonna say, even if you have deferred, the easiest way, at an individual level, for this to be solved is one, like you say, Casey. Listen, asterisk, yes, Will. Listen to other people, the people who aren't on the extreme, on the opposition. Listen to those people. Have a conversation, because they're hopefully not going to scream and yell. Don't do it over the internet. Preferably in person, because when you don't know the person and they're disagreeing with you, and especially if something they say, because they don't have to be on the extreme to still have something that's like the complete opposite of what you believe, right? But they might be more open to talk about. But when you just read that and you don't know them, you just assume, like Frost saying on the internet, a lot of people will assume you're the worst kind of person on that opposition, and they won't have a conversation. So that's one. Two, even if you are opposing someone else's, you can still respect other people's thoughts and belief. Again, asterisk, Will. I'll give you the asterisk on that one. You can still respect.
Footnotes.
So what else? You can disagree with someone in the trans community on like this with, what is it? Not sex, but gender identification. So even if you disagree, you can still respect someone's pronouns, right? You can still, so it's like, you go to like, oh, hello, sir, and it's like, excuse me, identifies this, and you can respectfully, not in a joking way, even if you in your own mind you don't think that, you can still be respectful of them as a person, right? That's not hard to do. Okay, if they want to have a conversation with you about it and you can potentially learn something from them, that's great. If you aren't ready for a convo or they aren't ready, then you respect that too and keep it pushing until someone is ready to have a conversation. That's it. That'd be real simple, I feel like. And then you can still get out of your own echo chamber, learn from other people, see where they're coming from, while being respectful. Is it that hard? Apparently, yes. From what I can tell on the internet, it seems hard, but it shouldn't
to escape that pattern of behavior online. But I would put it to at least people listening here, give it a try. Like, don't be so reactionary to the outrage culture of the internet. Try and be a little more open-minded, with an asterisk. We're not.
Oh, I thought you were saying like give the internet a try. I was like, no, bro.
Yeah, don't do
Twitter right now.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for this hearty conversation. Let's sign off. Ash, what do you got coming up where folks can check you out?
Hogwarts Legacy, I'm playing.
Streaming it right now.
Streaming it right now. I'm going live right now with Hogwarts Legacy. Come through. Refilio.
So stupid.
I'll be live tomorrow. I will be streaming Hogwarts Legacy though, but I'll be live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Ash Redux. Look at the name on Twitch. I also post shorts on TikTok and YouTube. I haven't posted one the last couple of weeks. Forgive me, but I promise they will be coming back. They will be coming back. Don't like the ones I already posted. Do that. Share them. Give me more.
All right. I will do that. Frost, what do you have coming up? Where can folks check you out?
See here, most recent thing is about to do an escapist stream with Amy. We're checking out Hellcard, I think is what the game was. Yeah,
I think
it'll
so,
be
yeah.
that. I'm working on 3MR for Atomic Heart. Interesting game. And another cold take about playing games the right way, quote unquote. That'll be a fun time. So yeah, I think that's all I got to plug.
Sweet. And We'll See Blogs. Where can folks find you? What you got up? What you got coming up?
You got a blog.
First and foremost. Wait, what? What
You got a
happened?
blog to hand out?
Yeah, where's that blog link?
You
Where's
know,
that blog
you
at?
guys don't got to worry about that. I'll let you know. But
William-
you know how do you find that? You
William
follow
Blogger.
at We'll See Blogs. Oh my God, that's so fantastic. Type it in on the little Googles. You can catch me sometimes. I stream on Twitch. Chances are it's gonna be something stupid. Actually, I haven't played Fortnite in a week, so maybe I won't be playing Fortnite. Who knows? Maybe I'll stream some Legacy if my computer can handle it. Old Betsy. I say that the whole computer shakes and breaks down. But yeah, no, for the most part, I would recommend following there. Also, if you just want to hear more chaotic energy from me and whoever my guest is, sometimes I podcast too. So you can just wherever you listen to podcasts and you type in the We'll See Blogs podcast, you'll hear chaotic messaging. Frost was my last guest, which we went on a lengthy conversation, but it was all good vibes. I learned a lot about him. I want to learn more about Mr. Frost. He's hiding. There's a lot. He's deep. This man is deep.
hiding.
Like his voice.
No, it's deeper.
Oh my God.
I'm like a 7-layer bean dip, bro.
Okay, this just became racially insensitive again, but I'm here for it.
It's lunchtime, dude. The Washington Post says no breakfast, sleep for dinner. Big
Right.
lunch is lobbying.
I don't think they understand that we, as like people of color, have dealt with dumb shit like that all the time. We've all had struggle meals, so like it's not even a problem.
Right?
Like,
Did you
oh,
feel that a little
This new
bit
life
when they're
hack,
like,
not eating. Because
yeah,
they
that
can't
new life
afford it.
hack. It's
I'm like,
not-
man, trying being poor, it's fucking ridiculous. Now you guys are just getting onto it. We were trendsetters before it was cool. But
that's
That's
what I'm
the thing.
saying.
They're poor now. That's why. That's why they're just figuring this shit out.
I'm like, well, maybe America shouldn't be just fucking 5 corporations in a trench coat pretending to be a country. So that's neither here nor there. Anyway, like I said, I would follow Twitter is primarily where I'm at. And then, I don't know, I want to do more sort of, as I've said, PC games. So I'm trying to do more PCS streams. If Amy or whatever gets never, I can't speak. If Amy becomes sick or whatever, I'm probably going to bother Frost like Frost put me on. I want to yell at people with the escapists and have fun. I don't know if that they
Let's,
can
let's
trust
start
that.
a podcast. Let's go.
Honestly, if we ended up doing that, it'd be 2 hours. People would be like doing fucking car drives all the way home. But this is my sign off. Again, follow We'll See Vlogs on Twitter. I will respond. We can be friends and we can just, chat. Fuck it, we'll play games. So yeah, that's it for me.
Nice.
Petition for Ash to be on the We'll See Blog podcast as well.
Absolutely. I
Yes,
forgot. Last time we were on a podcast, I think we were in a very similar situation where we were just like, I don't know if I should be talking. I don't have a lot to say here. And then I was like, I don't want to bother people. I'm trying to get more. One of my goals for 2023 is to be a little bit more, like just open in that regard. And
Yeah.
that's not therapy. Thank you, therapist.
Go
You've helped
for
me a
it.
lot, Christian. So, yeah, I'll have you. Don't worry
Shout
about
out to
it.
therapy. We love it. As for me, you guys can find me as always at SigmaGears9 here on Twitch, as well as Twitter, where I'll post links to other things I'm doing, like reviews that are popping out over the Escapists, as well as like written pieces. Like I wrote a piece on Wanted Dead in addition to the 3MR I did, so go and read and find that. I think the title is Wanted Dead made me possibly the most powerful I've ever felt in a video game. I think that's what the title is. But read it. It was a really fun experience that I had a lot to say about. For example, the 3MR is like over 4 minutes long because I was like, if the game don't
so
give
it's
a
a
shit,
4MR.
yeah, if the game don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. I would just do whatever. But outside of that, catch me and Superman Jeff this afternoon over on the Open Party channel for Super Smash Sunday, as we tend to do. Always a fun time. And outside of that, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna be rating Jesse because I know he's celebrating his 2-year Twitch affiliate anniversary.
What?
So I'm gonna send you guys over to Jesse.
that.
Tell him hi from the Sigma Show,
Yep.
and we'll see y'all's later. Peace.
Peace out, everybody.
See ya.